commentary of Doncaster against Everton in the League Cup. Conor McNamara is in South Yorkshire for us.
Yes, Everton have sort of been the crisis club in the Premier League this new campaign. Doncaster have fulfilled the same role in the fourth tier. Both are bottom of their respective tables, but I think there's no doubt which side is under the most pressure this evening, and having a long cup run is probably far from the top of Everton's priority list, but they need a win, any kind of win at the moment. It's the first time in 33 years that Everton have become a new season with 3 straight defeats, and this evening Sean Dyche's side kick off their 4th match of the campaign, still awaiting their first goal of the season. It's an 8 o'clock kick-off, so we don't have the confirmed team news yet, but Doncaster beat Hull in the first round to set up this home tie against a Premier League club, and that's been the only win that Grant McCann's side have had in their 6 games this season so far.
This is 5 Live Sport
with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Good evening, we are back for more action in the EFL Cup. Can Everton avoid an upset after a tough start to the season?
And Everton have lost 3 in a row without scoring. For Everton, played 3, lost 3, no goals scored. The final score, Everton 0, Wolves 1.
They face another struggling team, League Two's Doncaster Rovers.
I think it's a good game for us. I hear there's going to be good attendance here. We're looking forward to it. We're not come here to sit back and let them dictate the game. We want to be on the front foot. This is our home. We want to make it a real cup tie.
And also tonight, can Rangers qualify for the Champions League group stages?
It's an early ball by Dessers, transfer Matondo! Goal for Matondo! Goal for Rangers! And this place catches fire again!
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Good evening, welcome to Wednesday's 5 Live Sport. Yeah, it is a huge night for Rangers away at PSV Eindhoven in the Champions League qualifying playoff second leg. 2-2 on aggregate, so the winner goes into tomorrow's Champions League group stage draw. We're going to look ahead to that game a little bit later on. It kicks off at 8 o'clock tonight. This evening we'll also keep you across England against New Zealand in their first T20. The 50-over World Cup build-up begins. We'll be in New York at the US Open Tennis too. We are at all 5 EFL Cup second round matches for you tonight. Commentary of League Two's Doncaster Rovers against Everton from 8 o'clock on 5 Live and BBC Sounds with the team news. Good evening, Conor McNamara.
Good evening, Steve. Yeah, it's, Everton, we all know they've started the new season with these 3 straight defeats. First time that's happened to the club since 1990. They've only experienced a start to a new season like this twice in the club's entire history. The other was back in the 1950s. So it really feels desperate times for Sean Dyche. He can't afford to mess around tonight against the team at the bottom of the Football League. Everton make 4 changes from their defeat to Wolves on Saturday. 3 of those 4 changes are in the back 4. There's first appearances this season for Mikel and for Ben Godfrey. There's a first start up front for the young Portuguese striker Youssef Chermiti. For Doncaster, well, they've started the new season with 4 defeats and a draw for their opening 5 league games in League 2. Their only victory was in the last round of this competition when they won away at Hull last month, and they make 3 changes from the weekend when they did have a lot of shots against league leaders MK Dons, but were beaten 2-1 away from home in the end. And including in their team is Joe Ironside, the striker who has joined in the summer, has already been in the goals in the league since arriving from Cambridge United.
Thanks, Conor. Conor, you've now got to run off, don't you? Because you're going to speak to the Doncaster Rovers manager.
We're down to the tunnel, which is not very far away. It's about 25 metres away.
Go.
On the way.
That's Conor McNamara. So we will hear live, or not live, we'll hear from Grant McCann, the Doncaster Rovers manager, a little bit later before kick-off alongside Conor for commentary. It's Stephen Warnock. Evening, Stephen.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm just looking at that Everton team and thinking, if they hadn't played 3, lost 3, scored none, would it be as strong as it is?
No. I think it's one of those situations where you're needing a result, you're needing some goals, you're needing a positive performance. So that is why we're seeing that the team that Sean Dyche puts out tonight.
We've also got Pat Nevin with us all evening as well. Hiya, Pat.
Hi there, how you doing?
Yeah, probably better than most Everton fans at the minute, I think.
I think everyone's doing better than Everton fans at the moment, to be fair. It's really difficult times for the club, and the problem is there doesn't look like an obvious answer at the moment. Yes, they've got a Beto coming in, which may make a bit of a difference, but at the moment, no goals, no points, and even though they haven't played terribly in all the games, considering what's happened over the last couple of seasons, I've not yet met an Everton fan who's feeling positive about the season.
Stephen, there is the obvious issue up front, and everybody knows it's the issue. So we get Chimiti to look at tonight, who they spent a bit of money on. We might see a bit of Beto, who they spent a lot of money on. They really need one or both of those two to have a significant impact.
Yeah, they do. Listen, how many teams around the Premier League, the Championship, are looking for strikers in world football? It's the hardest thing to find, is a goal scorer at a decent price that you can afford to bring in. And I think that's what Everton have tried to do with both these players. Beto comes in around about 25 to 30 million. Chimiti's a little bit less, but a young player, 19 years of age. So there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders to come in and perform, because effectively he won't get that much time. If he was a youngster coming through, he'd get time. But because there's been a fee paid for him, because they are desperate for goals, now that they've lost Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well, there becomes an added pressure on his shoulders to perform.
I realise, Pat, that me saying Everton spent a lot of money on Beto when it's 25.7 million doesn't feel very 2023. But
No.
But for Everton now, that clearly is a lot of money.
That is obviously right on the edge of what they can afford with the FFP problems that they've got. We all know about the new stadium coming up. And they've had these problems. They sold Anthony Gordon, they sold Richarlison, they were having to get rid of the best players. And you do that when you were struggling. It's a nightmare situation, and all they have to do is look around at the vast majority of teams in the Premier League who, as you say, 25 million, it's a kind of, is that all? 35 million, is that all? You know, they clearly needed to spend a good deal more than that in the squad, as I say, considering what had happened in the last couple of seasons. Are Everton hugely stronger than they were last season? Question mark. The other question mark I would ask, and it is the real concern I think for Everton fans, see, when you think about it, how many teams do you think are going to be in the shake-up at the bottom of the league this season? Last season it looked like 6-7 periods. I don't think it'll be that this season. I think it'll be 3, 4, 5 at an absolute push. I think a number of teams have got better, have strengthened. So if you're one of those few teams at the bottom, that just decreases your numbers, your percentage of the chances of surviving again. And how sad is it you're talking already about survival? And this is someone who's Everton minded saying that, but it's just the reality.
This is a quote, Stephen, from Sean Dyche on Beto, who's on the bench tonight. So as I say, we might get our first look at him. A powerful striker who can carry the ball, hold up play, is strong in the air and works hard for the team. He might as well be describing Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but of course the problem is they can't keep him fit.
Why did he only cost 25 million then?
Yeah, well, right.
I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? You're trying to build a player up. You're trying to give him confidence before he's even kicked a ball properly. And that's the thing, is that, listen, I'm sure there are big qualities within the player. That he wouldn't have been brought to the football club if Sean Dyche and his scouting network didn't think that he was capable of performing for Everton. But it's interesting, when having seen his interview and talk, and he spoke to Gerard Deulofeu about Everton, and he was talking about the big club, the fans, how hard it is to play at the club, how they adore you if you do well and things like that. They're pressures that come with playing for Everton. Can he live up to that expectation? Can he carry that burden on his shoulders? Time will tell, and it's going to be exciting to see whether he can or can't.
And Pat, we're going to talk a lot more about Doncaster Rovers when Connor speaks to Grant McCann a little bit later. But just on them, if you are bottom of the Football League, is there such a thing as a free hit?
I actually think there is.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, I think there is. Yeah, and if you've got a big team, that you're playing against, what a fabulous thing. And any player of any substance whatsoever wants to test himself against, I'm going to use this phrase advisedly, the best, or the best that you can play against, and this is an opportunity for them to do that. So they'll be kind of in absolutely everything, and if they get beat, people say, yeah, well, that was expected. So it's as close as you get to a free hit.
What if they get absolutely battered though, Stephen?
Well, again, like Pat says, that they're probably expected to.
Yeah.
I think I agree with Pat. I think this is a free hit for them. I think it's a great opportunity to play a style of football where you go after a Premier League team who's wounded at the moment, and they're really wounded. So what have you got to fear against Everton? The big thing you have to admit before you go onto the football pitch is that Everton are the better team. But do they want it more? Have you got more desire than you on the night? Can you play on their vulnerabilities? And I know you've got them yourselves, but Everton are expected to win. So there's the added pressure for Everton. With Doncaster, no one's expecting them to win tonight. There'll be the odd person within the ground who is saying, could this be our night for a fantastic night where we cause a major upset to a Premier League team? Do they believe in the heart of hearts that they can actually get it? Probably not, but everyone wants to dream, don't they?
Yeah, and we've seen plenty of upsets already. There's no reason another can't happen tonight. Steve and Pat, thank you very much for the time being. Full commentary at 8 o'clock. Doncaster Rovers, bottom of the Football League, against Everton, of course, of the Premier League. In 15 minutes' time, we'll be bringing you commentary from the Eco Power Stadium. League 2 Doncaster Rovers against Everton of the Premier League in the second round of the EFL Cup. We're at all 5 ties tonight, so let's bounce around some of the other games. They kick off in the next minute or so. We'll start with Chelsea taking on League One's AFC Wimbledon. Chris Wise is watching.
Yeah, Wimbledon inside the billionaires' playground tonight. Mauricio Pochettino's made 7 changes to his Chelsea team from the win here against Luton. Sanchez, Disasi, Colwill and Gallagher keep their places. So in come Mark Cucurella, has been heavily linked with a move away. Ian Matson, Noni Madueku, Leslie Ugachukwu, the £21 million signing from Rennes. Diego Moreira's getting a debut. Bashir Humphreys, the 20-year-old defender. Mason Burstow, the young striker. They're all in for Chelsea. And AFC Wimbledon, along with their 4,298 fans, ready for a big night. Johnny Jackson, ex-Spurs man, he's in charge. They're still unbeaten in League 2. They're a complete juxtaposition to their host tonight because they've not spent a penny this summer, AFC Wimbledon, and they've made 5 changes, including 18-year-old Morgan Williams getting a first start for the Dons.
Just 6 miles and a few billion pounds between them. Stephen Kelly is there as well. Stephen, how could this competition be important for Chelsea? Not only is it a trophy and new managers and the League Cup seems to be an important thing, but also they've got to find a way to play some of these players who aren't going to be in the Premier League team week in, week out.
Absolutely. The further they go in this competition, the better it is for keeping players playing, keeping people happy. We all know that they've got a very overinflated squad, and it's really important that you keep as many players as confident and as happy as you possibly can, and that's going to be the trickiest thing for Poch, and I'm sure he would love nothing more than his first season back in the Premier League to pick up a trophy. So this is a great competition for him to be going in, and we all know they've got the depth and strength in the squad to be able to really kind of go far in this.
There's a brilliant story as well about one of the substitutes for AFC Wimbledon tonight. So if he comes on, we'll probably tell you more about that. But it's Ali Al-Hamadi, the Iraqi forward who fled Iraq as a young child with his family and grew up in Liverpool. There's a great interview with him in The Guardian this week. So if he comes on and have an impact, you'll certainly be hearing all about it. Elsewhere, there's an old Premier League tie tonight between Nottingham Forest and Burnley. Charlie Slater's at the City Ground.
Just underway, Forest 0, Burnley 0. A first meeting for 7 years. Forest have made 7 changes. Chris Wood starts against the team he scored more than 50 goals for, and there are debuts for Montiel and Santos. Burnley make 10 changes. Only Dara O'Shea keeps his place from the weekend. There is, however, a first start for the Clarets for Aaron Ramsey.
Just getting underway at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United face League One Lincoln City. Betty Glover.
And it is 0-0 currently. Sheffield United will be hoping for another cup run this season. They will also, and probably more crucially, be hoping for their first win of the season. They've lost all 3 of their opening league games, although can take confidence from that decent performance against Man City at the weekend. Boss Paul Heckingbottom has the perfect opportunity tonight to give some minutes and debuts out, and he's doing just that. 9 changes, which includes Cameron Archer making his debut, having signed from Aston Villa at the weekend. As for Lincoln, they come into this on the back of a 4-game unbeaten run in the league, Steve. Their boss Mark Kennedy says they've earned the right to play a Premier League side and is looking forward to the test.
And League Two's Harrogate Town take on Championship side Blackburn Rovers. Naz Premji.
Evening, Steve. After a night of Carabao Cup sets last night, Harrogate Town looking to have another this evening in what they're describing as the biggest game in their history here at the Environment Stadium. Both sides with plenty of changes. Simon Weaver, the home manager's made 7 alterations. John Dahl Thomason for Blackburn, 10 alterations from the weekend. Only Dom Hyam, who started that win at Watford, keeps his place for the visitors. A full house here, just over 3,000 in this lovely ground in North Yorkshire. We've played 3. It's 0-0.
Just over 10 minutes to go then until full commentary in the EFL Cup round of Doncaster Rovers of League 2 against Everton. The Doncaster Rovers manager is Grant McCann, and he's been speaking to Conor McNamara.
Just out here on the touchline with Grant McCann. Grant, it's a hive of activity. There's different television cameras and there's lights and there's action. There's always a buzz when a Premier League team is in town. And given the start you've had to the season, do you welcome this sort of buzz, this distraction?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great game for us, isn't it? We're playing against top class opposition tonight. Our message to the players is go and enjoy it, go and be free, but go and show people what you're about, be brave. So hopefully the boys can take the shackles off a little bit tonight, go and be free in how we want to play and movements and stuff, and let's see if we can cause an upset. It's going to be tough, of course it is. We all know that, but I want the players to go and enjoy themselves.
From what you're saying, are you sort of implying that the pressure is all on Everton tonight?
Look, I think it's a Premier League club against a League 2 club. I'm sure they'll probably know that anyway, without me saying it. We just want to go and enjoy this occasion. Let's see if our boys can go and test themselves against top class players, and let's see what the outcome is.
You know Sean Dyche well. I know you've been and you've sort of, he's welcomed you in to watch training sessions, all that kind of stuff in the past. He's just over there behind you. I mean, I always find his body language, you don't know if he's really happy and he's just won 6-0 or if he's under pressure. I mean, he always looks the same, but he this is a very big game for him tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's probably a question for Sean. I mean, he's top class in what he does, and I've admired him for many years now, and he did a great job at Everton when he won last season, just steadying the ship and things like that. And I could see all the work that he does all behind the scenes when I went and visited him. So I've no doubt this Everton team, with the quality they've got, they'll, like us a little bit in the league, they haven't started the way they want to start, but I'm sure results will follow.
Grant McCann, Doncaster Rovers manager, with Conor McNamara. Connor's back up in the commentary box with Stephen Warnock, and we've got Pat Nevin still with us as well, just under 10 minutes to kick off. Stephen, one of the things that occurred to me about that is it's great for Grant McCann that he's been to watch Sean Dyche at Everton, because he'll know what to expect. But then equally, doesn't everybody know what to expect when you're playing Sean Dyche's Everton?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just a little bit of an insight as to how things work, isn't it? And what he tries to achieve behind the scenes, the camaraderie, the fitness work that goes on, what they're trying to set up to achieve in training, to put out on a match day. They're the little nuggets that you're looking to achieve to try and progress yourself as a manager, to get up the leagues and to make your team better. So it's nice. I love the fact that Sean Dyche lets people come in and watch as well. I think it's a great thing. Some managers might fear it, as if to say, well, I'm not giving away my secrets. Well, there's so many different facets to how a manager works and what he tries to do that it's very hard to replicate full time.
To be honest, he probably thought it was unlikely he was going to be coming up against Doncaster Rovers.
That's very true as well, Steve.
But here we are. Here's a quote from Grant McCann about the match tonight. He said, "To be honest, my whole career has been people writing me off, right from the moment I left school to being a professional and being in management. I love that. It brings that fire out in me." It even sounds like Sean Dyche, Pat.
Yeah, a little bit, but there'll be games being played there as much as he possibly can. Yeah, look, when you get a chance, and you don't get big chances to do it against the big teams, you've got to try and do the best you possibly can, but not oversell yourself. Not do something or say something that could maybe embarrass you later. I mean, he must have looked, particularly the Everton team, that is what you said earlier on, that is as strong a team as they can put out, almost. Yeah, it's a very, very strong side. That's the side that tells me that Everton are going to give everything they've got. This is important to them, not just for the competition, but they need something to boost their confidence. So, sometimes you can get the early rounds, and if you're, Donny, you can turn up and you've got a reserve team. He's not getting them. I bet he wish he could.
And look, Steve and Pat, you both obviously know this competition inside out. You've both been in teams that have gone all the way to the final. So I imagine, Stephen, there is nothing scarier than when you're the Premier League player coming up against a club like this, especially if you've been struggling the way Everton have.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is making sure that you're fully committed to it, making sure there's no complacency. That'll be the biggest word within the changing room tonight. Every single player and the Everton team, well, I'll say the senior players, the lads on the bench, you look at straight away Ashley Young and James Karkowski, they will both be saying to their players, to their teammates, do not be complacent tonight, because if you are and you switch off and you think this is going to be an easy ride, you'll get turned over. And the hardest thing to do is to go up through the gears. It's to go from first to fifth gear to try and get yourself back in a game. You've got to go up as quick as you can and try and get the game put to bed in the first 30 minutes, or at least at half time, as much as you can. And that is what you've got to try and do against the smaller teams.
Novak Djokovic just won the first set 6-4 at the US Open against Zapata Miralles. You can listen to full commentary on the BBC Sport website. Connor, what sort of atmosphere are Everton facing? I mean, it's a small stadium, but it can get loud when it wants to.
Yeah, it can, and a decent crowd in here tonight. They're hoping for 12,000 for a team who are right at the very foot of the Football League. They are hoping that there's some sort of magic here that can suddenly spur on their whole season and give a bit of excitement, because for the Doncaster fans it's been a tough old watch. I mean, there's so many parallels if you're an Everton fan and if you're a Doncaster fan at the start of this season. They're both waiting for their first league win, but having spoken to Grant McCann down on the touchline, the pressure of course is on Everton here. Nobody expects Doncaster to do anything against a Premier League team, but that's why we're here. We know from the past these things, stranger things than this, can and does happen in cup football.
From the Eco Power Stadium to the Enviro Vent, and the first goal of the night, Naz Premji.
Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 1. Lovely Rovers move, and in the end it was Jake Garrett, left side, low finish into the bottom corner past Mark Oxley. Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 1.
Connor, whenever you get a game like this, I'm sure you look at the lower side, if you like, and you look at the players and you look for the stories. And in Joe Iron's side, Doncaster have got a striker that put Newcastle United out of the FA Cup.
Yeah, he's got plenty of history. The summer signing from Cambridge United, and I always think things like that. Exactly what you've said. It puts a focus. It gives a narrative. It sort of creates a story behind it, and that's all we want, is to feed off of that. Give him an early chance. Let him get in around the back of Michael Keane early in the game, and we'll all be using about that. I mean, looking across the players, there's no sort of obvious names, guys who played in the Premier League in the past or anything like that, but so many of them began at Premier League clubs. Owen Bailey was in the youth system at Newcastle. Joseph Aloha was in Arsenal's youth academy. Broadbent was at Sheffield United. So these players have been very close to the big time in terms of the upper leagues, and I always think a game like tonight is a chance to show everyone they could have competed at that top tier level.
So we will keep you up to date with all the goals as they go in. All 5 EFL Cup second round ties tonight. Remember, if any of these are level at 90 minutes, we will take you to penalties. We'll keep you up to date with the cricket. England 12 for 1. Target is 140 to beat New Zealand in the first T20. Live commentary of that on 5 Sports Extra. On the BBC Sport website, you can get live commentary from the US Open. Novak Djokovic has just taken the first set against Zapata Miralles. The players are coming out in Eindhoven for Rangers' big night in the Champions League playoff round. 2-2 from the first leg against PSV at Ibrox. They have the opportunity to beat the same opponents to reach the group stage for the second year in a row. But the teams are also out in Doncaster. Doncaster Rovers of League 2 against Everton of the Premier League. And Stephen Warnock is with Conor McNamara.
Thanks very much, Steve. The teams are out, both wearing tracksuit tops. Plenty of daylight still in the air for this 8 o'clock kickoff as we near the very end of August. And the Doncaster players now taking off those black tops and unveiling their red and white striped shirts underneath, and Everton are wearing their traditional blue, and we are all set for kickoff. This impeccably neat stadium. They've been playing here since 2007. It still feels sort of brand new. You've got the same level tier the whole way around. It is very much of the modern ilk of stadiums, and Everton fans have taken over the whole end away to our left hand side. Plenty blue there. And I think it's not too unfair to say this now at this stage, Steve. In recent seasons, long suffering Everton fans, they have had turmoil, misery in recent seasons. They have clung on to their Premier League status by the absolute skin of their teeth. And we're going to bring in Stephen just a moment on that, because there's an early goal in the second round. Harrogate Town against Blackburn Rovers. Naz Premji.
Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 2. Really clinical from the Championship side. Sam Gallagher left side, fired into the bottom corner. Carbon copy of the first goal, really. It's Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 2.
Thanks very much, Naz. So Stephen, these Everton fans, they show up in huge numbers. They've bought their full allocation here. They're going to cheer their team on from the start. It's about time probably these players repaid a bit of that, and against this opposition, this should be a comfortable win for Everton.
Yeah, it should be. I think year upon year, every time I speak to an Evertonian at the end of the season, they say I'm not renewing again next year. I can't put myself through it. It's so difficult, but they keep on coming back because we love the game and we love supporting our teams. And I think from what they saw, the fight and the spirit that Sean Dyche brought last season, I think they thought they were going to get that again this season. It hasn't happened for them in the first 3 games of the season, but tonight could possibly be a turning point for them, and that's what every fan in that away end is clinging on to tonight.
Tom Reeves is the referee. He's gone through the formalities with the two captains. Tommy Rowe of Doncaster Rovers, he was their player of the year last season, and Jordan Pickford, who's got the captain's armband. You can hear boos in the background. That's Pickford running back to the goal away to the right. The Everton fans are down the other end, and the Doncaster fans giving a, I guess, traditional greeting to the opposition goalkeeper, the England number 1. Pickford's got a big black towel. He's got it up wiping his face, and we're about to get underway. Joe Ironside has got his studs on the ball. He is ready to go. Doncaster Rovers will play from left to right as we look down. It's the team at the very bottom of the 4th tier against the team at the very bottom of the Premier League, and we're underway. And of course, August is always too early to look at league tables, and things need to settle down. Early nerves and shows. A Lowe's crossfield pass goes straight out of play and gives a throw into Everton on the far side. But last weekend, just over 10 days ago it would have been now, and they lost to Villa. Everton dropped down to the bottom of the table, and this surprised me. It was the first time in 13 years that Everton had been at the actual foot of the table. So if the alarm bells aren't ringing now, they never will be. Michael Keane rolls it back to Pickford. First touch is dreadful. He's going to lose it here. Ironside is in to nick it off him, and it was an early chance, and it should have been finished, and Mo Fall wasn't able to get the shot away. Jordan Pickford all over the place inside his penalty area. That is not the start to give Everton much confidence.
No, not a great ball from Michael Keane, but put your foot through it. Just get it out first time. Tries to be clever, tries to take a touch. Doncaster should do better. It's a poor ball under pressure, but they should have got the ball across and put it into an empty net.
So the corner is going to come from the right hand side. Luke Molyneux has placed it. Joined Doncaster just over a year ago. Former Sunderland player. It's played to the edge of the penalty area. Tommy Rowe will take it in. That's a really good ball. Oh, defensive header. Alowo, the big burly centre back. He needed a delicate flick on header, and he sort of defensively headed it straight up in the air. What a chance that was for Doncaster. 2 chances for the League 2 side inside the opening 90 seconds.
Oh, he forgot what box he was in, didn't he? It was almost like you say, Connor. He's trying to defend it. He gets it right off the top of his head, up into the air. It just needed a glance, and Pickford would have been in trouble. Lovely ball from Tommy Rowe.
Right, so a bright start from Doncaster. Everton have still to settle down. Onana turns on the halfway line and accelerates into the opponent's half. He's rolled the ball in front of Yusuf Chamiti, who's making his first start for Everton. The Portuguese 19-year-old came on as a substitute for his debut in the Premier League against Wolves at the weekend, but he's in from the start tonight. And the other new Portuguese recruit, the big money signing, Beto, who joined yesterday from Udinese, he is in the matchday squad. He's on the bench. He's been given number 14, so we might see him make his debut at some stage. That fee up to £30 million for Beto. Everton need goals, and it's going to be interesting to see if either of these Portuguese players can provide them.
Well, you said before about the following of Everton fans. One of the reasons they are here is to see Beto. They want to see if he's going to be the man, or Chamiti, who's going to get them up the league, get the goals that they need to get themselves out of trouble.
4 changes for Everton from the game against Wolves on Saturday. We're going to nip straight though to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea against AFC Wimbledon, and Chris Wise, a penalty.
A penalty to the League 2 team. It's Chelsea 0, AFC Wimbledon 0. 18 minutes in, James Tilley, AFC Wimbledon's top scorer this season, from the spot, scores it. There is a score line that will prick the ears right down the middle from James Tilley, who is now running the length of the pitch towards those 4,300 AFC Wimbledon supporters, who, as you can imagine, are going absolutely berserk. Chelsea 0, AFC Wimbledon 1. Stephen Kelly.
It's actually unbelievable. We were just talking off air saying I think AFC could nick one here. They're set up, their shape, they're making it very hard for Chelsea to play through. Long ball into the box, definite penalty, and they put it away. And Chelsea have not been able to pass between them or find any passing lanes. They found it really difficult to break them down. It's a game on.
Very much so. Robert Sanchez was the offender. He clattered into Harry Pell. Tilley has scored the penalty. Chelsea 0, AFC Wimbledon 1.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we love cup football. How much money have Chelsea spent in over the last 12 months? And they trail at home. And we'll be back in regular touch with Chris and with Stephen there. And we'll see how AFC Wimbledon get on, trying to hold on to that lead. Here at the Eco Power Stadium, the old Keep Mode Stadium in Doncaster, 0-0 with Everton in town. And Doncaster have begun this with plenty fire in their belly, Stephen Moore.
Oh, they really have. They've gone after Everton straight away, and that was one of the things that we said was, how will he approach this game? What will he do? We said it was a free hit for them before the show, and we were talking what the attitude of the Doncaster players. They've taken this game to Everton straight away.
Pitch is in great nick, by the way. Really good surface. Both coaches down there in contrasting sartorial styles. Sean Dyche has got his Sean Dyche uniform, his shirt and his tie and his dark trousers and shiny shoes. And Grant McCann's more casual look. He's got the sort of black tracksuit, the hoodie top, and he's got trainers as he stands with his arms folded across his chest looking on as Luke Molyneux jumps and tries to win a header for Doncaster. Comes down for Owen Bailey. Bailey is composed as he sends it down the right channel, and Ironside will sprint after. Right to his edge of his penalty area comes Jordan Pickford, and he picks up possession for Everton and bowls it out in front of Nathan Patterson and encourages the Scot to run up towards the halfway line. He's immediately met by James Maxwell. Everton playing from right to left as we look down. 4 bright floodlight stanchions. I always think the Sabutio floodlights sort of style. None of your floodlights along the edge of the pitch, just 4 big pylons in each corner beaming down onto the pitch and giving 4 shadows just bouncing away from each player as they run around the pitch. James Maxwell has possession for Doncaster of League 2. Into the midfield to Zane Westbrook, who began his career at Brentford, made 1 league appearance for them before being let go. The goalkeeper is Ian Lawler, who's been the first choice around here for some time. He started the 5 league games this season. He also played in the last round of this competition when Doncaster Rovers beat Hull to get into the second round to get the glamour tie against Premier League Everton. And they started this game well. Tommy Rowe, neat and tidy, out to Maxwell on the left-hand side. Everton working hard to get bodies back behind the ball. Chermiti has stayed up, everyone else back in defence. Crossfield pass towards Molyneux, controls it on his chest. Good movement as he veers towards a crossing position. Now he needs some support. That's supplied by Owen Bailey. You can see some of the lines on the pitch here where they play rugby as well. Those have been sort of camouflaged away as Bailey crosses in from the right hand side. Big leap by Ben Godfrey, heads it out of the penalty area for Everton. But fair to say, Stephen Warnock, Everton haven't settled yet.
No, they haven't, and they haven't been able to settle because of the start that Doncaster have made. It's been really positive for them. As they're setting up from goal kicks, Doncaster, they're putting 4 men up front. They're making sure that they're pushing the back line of Everton back. But then when Everton are trying to build up from the back, they're leaving that 4 high up. They're saying to them, OK, you're going to have to kick long. We're happy for you to kick it long, and we'll deal with that as and when it comes.
So Ian Lawler, the goalkeeper for Doncaster. They've got 3 central defenders: Owen Bailey, Rio Griffiths, Joseph Olowu. Then 2 wing-backs, Luke Molyneux and James Maxwell. 3 in the midfield, Zane Westbrook, George Broadbent and Tommy Rowe, the captain. And then up top, Joe Ironside and Mo Fall. And the Everton team picked for the goalkeeper Patterson, Godfrey, Keane and Mikalenko. 3 of those 4 have changed from the Premier League game at the weekend. It's a first Premier League start to the season for Mikalenko and for Godfrey. First appearances for the 2 of those. Then in midfield, Onana alongside Gardner. Doucouré will push on. Danjuma on the right. Lewis Dobbin on the left. Dobbin, who's featured in all of Everton's opening 3 Premier League games of the new season. And then up top, Youssef Chermiti, the 19-year-old who's yet to be involved in the game yet. Let's see if Everton can get him involved here as Patterson gets to the byline down the right hand side, but he's tracked by Maxwell. Maxwell makes the challenge and out it goes for a corner to Everton. Still 0-0 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
Lovely position from Lewis Dobbin, just getting in between, coming off the line, allowing Patterson to go round him, making it difficult for the Doncaster players to pick him up, and then he just picks it up, turns, drives at the Doncaster defenders and then slips Patterson in down that right hand side. That's the type of movement that Sean Dyche's Everton need to make tonight.
AFC Wimbledon still leading away at Chelsea midway through the first half there. That's the story of the night so far as Doncaster deal with the corner that was delivered in by James Garner. Patterson picks it up near the halfway line, put under pressure. He'll turn and roll it all the way back to Pickford. Isolated figure with the short sleeves. Away to our right hand side, Pickford's left-footed clearance towards Mikalenko right up against the chalk of the touchline, chests the ball to keep it in play, and then the run from Chermiti. He had been offside, and that will be a free kick to Doncaster. Away to our left, and Bailey just rolls the ball back in front of the goalkeeper Lawler and says to him, well, you can take it. This is the first meeting of these clubs since 1985. Back then they were drawn together in the FA Cup. Everton won by 2-0 at Goodison. And a nice touch tonight, Doncaster have invited members of that 1985 team who played Everton to come here. 8 of the starting 11 are here tonight. I believe they're going to be paraded on the pitch at half-time. Ian Lawler takes the clearance for Doncaster down the left wing. It's going to roll through to James Maxwell here. Patterson was beaten by the bounce. Good recovery from Patterson though, and the last touch comes off the Doncaster player. Goes for a goal kick, and you can hear a bit of unrest from the home fans who thought there was a chance they were going to get a corner there. Still 0-0.
Yeah, he just miskicked it, Maxwell, down that left hand side under a little bit of pressure from Patterson, but you can see what they're trying to do from the goal kicks. Up to Ironside, little flick on, Maxwell coming round the back, making sure that he's free. It's been a great start to the game from Doncaster.
These two clubs haven't been in the same division as each other since the 1950s. They've only ever been in the same division as each other twice in their long, proud histories. So it is a bit of a rarity that they're up against each other tonight. Throw into Doncaster. And praise for Doncaster, but been rather harsh on Everton, but you don't tell the huge difference in class between these two teams. Premier League against fourth tier in the early stages of this game so far. We've played 10 minutes. Garner clears away from the back for Everton, but it's way too far in front of Chermiti, and that should be mopped up by Rio Griffiths. Turns, rolls it back to Lawler. Probably could have done with a bit more strength in the back pass. Lawler's going to sprint out with Chermiti bearing down on him, but the Doncaster Rovers goalkeeper does get it away. Onana's busy in the midfield. Nice little flick on to Lewis Dobbin, who's now playing on the right hand side. Danjuma left for Everton, Lewis Dobbin on the right. Dobbin, who's been an Evertonian since he was 11 years of age, been involved with the club's youth system. Patterson rolls it back to Ben Godfrey, who this time last season in August suffered that bad leg break right at the beginning of the campaign and completely disrupted his whole season. He'll hope to have a full clean bill of health now throughout this campaign. Garner, the former Manchester United man, back to Godfrey again. Everton are trying to play it neat and tidy as it's back to Pickford, who booms it long again down the right wing, trying to get Doucouré involved out there. That's a good ball in front of Dobbin. He'll sprint, but it just bounces heavily on the turf and spins away from him. And cheers from the Doncaster fans as it goes harmlessly out for a goal kick. And Doncaster have survived the first 11 minutes anyway. Let's check in on the Champions League qualifying playoff second leg tonight. Rangers are in Eindhoven. Here's Gavin Wallace.
PSV 0, Rangers 0. Connor, still 2 each on aggregate, just over 11 minutes on the clock. Best chance coming just a minute or two ago on the 11th minute. Joey Veerman from range shot, but Jack Butland was down to his left very well to save, and smartly at that as well. It's very much in the ascendancy this game, a lot happening, but still PSV 0, Rangers 0.
And 2-2 on aggregate. Last night Galatasaray, Braga Young Boys all won their playoffs. Here is Onana for Everton, left wing back position. Mikalenko's straight upfield a bit further. Danjuma gets it on the halfway line and plays a nice neat 1-2 with Doucouré there. Danjuma to within 10 yards of the byline. Back to Doucouré again. This is good from Everton, but an excellent challenge. George Broadbent on the edge of his own penalty area takes the ball away from Doucouré, who's battled hard to try and win it back here. But Doncaster so far dealing with what Everton have been able to throw at them. Doncaster Rovers 0, Everton 0.
Well, the games that I've watched Everton so far this season, Danjuma's been the best player. Whenever he gets on the ball, tries to attack, tries to take people on. He was the player there, him and Doucouré trying to go at the heart of Doncaster defence. Credit to Broadbent now, he stayed with his man, stayed with the task, came out on top.
Last night in this competition there were wins for Middlesbrough, Port Vale, Mansfield, Stoke, Leicester, Wolves, Bradford, Salford, who beat Leeds dramatically on penalties. Cardiff went through, Norwich, Exeter, Luton, Brentford, Crystal Palace. Ipswich went through as well. As here Doncaster Rovers come on the attack into the penalty area with the dangly legs of Mo Fall, who's twisting and turning but never fully had it under his control, and in the end he's adjudged to have fouled Lewis Dobbin, and that's a free kick to Everton midway inside their own half.
I wasn't surprised you couldn't read that one then. Your handwriting is tiny. I was looking and I was thinking, where are you reading that?
Have you seen John Murray's handwriting?
Yeah, disgraceful.
That is, you would need a magnifying glass from NASA, sort of telescope to view Mars to be able to see the respected correspondent's handwriting, which is impeccably neat. By the way, if you're going to be that small, you've got to be neat, whereas mine looks a bit more of a scrawl. Everton struggling to get clean possession here. Godfrey's given it away on the halfway line. Chance of a counter-attack here. Mo Fall, who looks a bit of a live wire, doesn't he, as he cuts in off the wing on the left-hand side, plays a crossfield ball. Molyneux's done really well to get there. Mikalenko should have been able to clear away. Molyneux takes on the Ukrainian to the byline, hangs in the cross. Fall gets up, can't get a clean header, just sort of come off his nose. He couldn't get his forehead on it. Everton are able to clear it away. Doncaster remain on top, 0-0 on 5 Live at the Eco Power Stadium.
Well, Mikalenko's got his hands tied here with Molineux. He's got him twisted inside out a couple of times. Lovely stand up to the back post, and then you're looking at Mo Fall and you're thinking, go and attack it. Credit to Patterson though, he defends the back post excellently, because if he hadn't have stood his ground, it would have been a clear header for him at goal.
You know, in a way, it's a hiding to nothing for Everton tonight. If they win this comfortably, they're not going to get any praise from anyone. They're playing the team bottom of the 4th tier. However, this is fraught with danger, isn't it? I mean, the way Doncaster have started, if Everton thought their campaign was worrying up until now, they'll be very concerned with what's happened here in the opening quarter of an hour at the Eco Power Stadium. Possession stats, territory, it's all in Doncaster's favour so far. They've had the best chances too. Falk gives it out to Maxwell on the left-hand side, but he's blazed that cross. He's absolutely lashed it. It goes over Pickford's crossbar, and that is a goal kick to Everton, away to our right-hand side, and still 0-0.
I think the big thing is when you're watching Everton at the moment, they're saying the ball's not getting moved quick enough, but you have to say, give the credit to Doncaster. They're pressing in the right areas. You've got to make sure that you do that. It's how long they can continue doing that for, and how long they can keep the concentration levels up.
Over on Sports Extra, England against New Zealand, the first T20 at Chesterley Street, and Eleanor Oldroyd can bring us up to date here on 5 Live.
End of the power play, so 6 overs down, England 61 for 1, and they are cruising towards that target of 140 to win. Didn't feel like it at the start though. Johnny Bairstow out for 4, but Will Jacks is on 22, David Milan on 29. England 61 for 1, chasing 140 to win.
Thanks very much, Eleanor. Commentary of England women against Sri Lanka in their T20 tomorrow from 5:45 on Sports Extra. And by the way, tomorrow on 5 Live we'll bring you reaction to the Champions League draw, which takes place at I think, is the draw from 7 p.m? Certainly our reaction on 5 Live will be from 7 p.m. I think the draw might be earlier in the day. Doncaster Rovers 0, Everton 0. This is the Carabao Cup, the second round. This is when the Premier League teams get involved. Doncaster doing well so far. Bailey tries to clear it away. They've got the confidence here to try and play out from the back, and they get a bit bogged down in heavy traffic in midfield. Maxwell can't keep the ball in play, and out it goes for a throw into Everton. And Nathan Patterson, who started all 3 Premier League games so far this season, he's got that right back position to his own at the moment, with Seamus Coleman recovering from the knee injury. Everton have it on the halfway line. Onana to Patterson, who was stretching. They'll do well not to give it away here. Garner does get possession, comfortable back inside the centre circle again, and then Mikalenko delivers it low to the feet of Danjuma with the white boots. The Dutchman tries to take on Owen Bailey, but he can't get past him.
It's a foul, Connor. It's a foul. He's body checked him. It was lovely skill from Danjuma. Just slips it, or just dinks it over the leg of Bailey, and he's away from him.
But the referee didn't ping for it, and Doncaster play on. No VAR tonight, by the way, at this 4th tier stadium. Referee tonight is Tom Reeves. Doncaster in their red and white hoops. And this is George Broadbent over the halfway line, low to the feet of Mo Fall, and that one bounced off him. He couldn't get it under his control at all. So Takuri says thanks very much and picks up possession. Gives it to Danjuma, 15 yards outside the Doncaster Rovers penalty. Another heavy challenge comes in, and again that same player from Owen Bailey. Referee's happy for play to continue. Everton still have possession, but they're forced back to Pickford.
They're just struggling to find players on the ball. What they've got to try and do is, I know we're seeing it week in, week out, but if you put Mikalenko inside a little bit and then isolate Danjuma in a 1v1 against Owen Bailey, you'll find it so difficult, but they're not being able to do that at the moment.
Just confirmation, the Champions League draw tomorrow is at 5 p.m. We'll bring you instant reaction to that on Drive, and then of course a more detailed analysis on 5 Live Sport from 7. Wicket at the cricket, back to Eleanor Oldroyd again.
Yes, the partnership is broken. Will Jacks, a horrible shot caught by Allen off the bowling of Ish Sodhi for 22 off 12 deliveries. 62 for 2 England, and that brings Harry Brook out to join David Milan.
Thanks very much, Eleanor, from the Eco Power Stadium here, where it's Doncaster Rovers 0, Everton 0, to the Envirovent Stadium. Harrogate Town against Blackburn Rovers. Here's Naz Premji.
Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 3. Another cross from the right-hand side, a cutback, and John Buckley charging in has fired in Rovers third. It's a professional performances from the Championship side. Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 3.
Thanks very much, Naz. Here's Everton. Takuri tries to play it forward to Chermiti, who's not had a comfortable touch of the ball in the game. Dobbin tried a backheel on the edge of the D that didn't work at all. He stumbled and fell over. Doncaster Rovers regain possession. Bailey goes long this time, looking for foul. He is the target. They keep looking for him at all times. Pass wasn't good behind him, and that goes out for a throw into Everton. Throw in for Nathan Patterson down the right hand side. So it doesn't feel like there's going to be any big shock at Harrogate with cup shock with Harrogate trailing Blackburn Rovers by 3-0. The shock at the moment is at Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea still trail AFC Wimbledon by 1-0. The way the League Cup is split up is northern and southern clubs in two sort of different sections. We've got two of the northern teams here. Onana out to Danjuma on the left hand side, back into Onana once again, who veers his way out towards the corner flag. Everton attack down the left, but there's no getting past the defender, and the ball is put out of play by Molineux, and out for a throw into Everton, attacking the end, where their supporters, after much noise and singing in the early stages, have gone a bit quiet. Throw in taken by Mikalenko. Onana will turn and roll it back to Michael Keane. Keane, who came on as a substitute against Wolves on Saturday. It's a dreadful pass from him. He came on in the 90th minute as a centre forward, which sort of shows the emergency break glass scenario that Everton have been in the opening weeks of the campaign. Tonight he's starting in his regular position at centre half, but he'll have been disappointed with that pass there. Let's get an update from the City Ground. Nottingham Forest against Burnley tonight, an all Premier League affair for Charlie Slater.
Well, here goes Chris Wood as he tries to cross the ball into the penalty area. Comes back to Koyate, who fires over the top of the crossbar. That's as good as it's got. It's been an awful game of football so far. 35 minutes gone. Forest 0, Burnley 0.
Sounds like we chose the right moment to come anyway. Thanks, Charlie. Hope it livens up there. 0-0 here between Doncaster Rovers and Everton. This nice evening in South Yorkshire. Myself and Stephen were discussing it. This is the first game I've brought a coat to this season. I'm glad I have the coat. I wouldn't say I definitely need it, but it's, it still feels summer football.
No, I put mine on before the game thinking I didn't want to cause it. We're in so tight, aren't we? We're compacted in, we're like sardines. It was like Deno at Villa Park the other week when he was complaining. And I thought, I won't put my coat on. Then I was thinking, well, if I don't, I'm going to be banging into people left, right and centre. But now I've got the Eskimo effect. I'm sweating, Connor. I'm roasting hot.
It's a lovely evening. There's not much breeze, bone dry. Danjuma waited for the ball to come down. Bailey didn't, he lunged in. But it's worked out okay for Everton here as Chermiti takes it down the left-hand side, gives it away. Some groans from the travelling fans. He's young, Chermiti. He's only 19. He's not had much first choice football. He used to play in Portugal with Sporting. Here comes Luke Molineux down the other end for Doncaster. He's full of confidence, taking on Onana. Good defensive work for the Belgian international, though. Stops Molineux's surge right at the byline, and out it goes for a corner to Doncaster. Luke Molineux, every time he's been on the ball, he's been direct and he's provided something.
Yeah, there's a real trust in Ironside as well to hold the ball up, run beyond him, and then when he does, he's not cutting back, he's taking people on down the outside. Really positive play.
Two standing over the corner. Zane Westbrook has gone over there. I think it's going to be him to swing it in as Luke Molineux steps away. Everton have brought everyone back to within 10 yards of Jordan Pickford's goal. Here it comes, Westbrook. It's a reverse move to the edge of the area, over the top from Tommy Rowe. There was no one marking him. Rehearsed move from the training ground, and it nearly worked for Doncaster Rovers. Tommy Rowe looking for his first goal of the season, had one disallowed for offside against MK Dons on Saturday. He was about 1.5 foot over the top.
Yeah, well, when you look at the two teams, when they line up against each other from set pieces, Everton are by far the bigger team, so they had to be clever, they had to try something different. Really smart from Doncaster, unlucky from Tommy Rowe.
So Everton under pressure here. Let's check on the progress of another Premier League side. Sheffield United hosting Lincoln City this evening at Bramall Lane. Here's Betty Glover.
Still goalless thanks to Lincoln's defending. Sheffield United look dangerous when they get going. Lovely link-up of play between Norwood and Larouci. Ball lands to Ollie McBurney, who took a shot but it was blocked by Brown and eventually cleared. Other than that, not a lot to write home about. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln 0.
Yes, very much 0-0 here at the Eco Power Stadium. Header of the back for Mikalenko, who missed the end of last season with an injury. And of course over the summer they brought in Ashley Young, and he's been playing left back. So Mikalenko's got a point to prove this evening as he gets a chance to start. He's not been able to do much in terms of going forward in these opening 24 minutes so far. The throw in here comes towards Mikalenko. Tries to head it away, doesn't get great distance on it. Michael Keane has to use all his strength here to hold up Joe Ironside. Referee says that he does it fairly, and Keane's clearance is going to give possession away again. Everton really struggling to hold on to it when they win the ball back. In the midfield, Bailey needs the help behind him of a low. That's very neat. Westbrook plays it out into space as he overcooked that he has. That's unfortunate for Doncaster. Nice little exchange of passes in the middle. Then they tried to spread it, but it was overcooked. Went over James Maxwell and out for a throw into Everton. Stephen Warnock.
Can I say this in a nice way? Joe Ironside is a pest. But in a nice way, in the way that he's in and around Michael Keane. He's not giving him a minute's rest. He's up against him, he's dragging his shirt, he's pulling his arm back, making sure that he finds space. Michael Keane knows he's in a game.
I'm a big fan of a pest of a forward. Is that what Everton need? Do Everton need a pest?
Absolutely they do. They need someone who's going to hold the ball up, who's going to bring others into play, and you've got a foundation to build off, and at the moment they don't have that. Chermiti just hasn't brought anything to Everton so far. He'll argue that he hasn't had any service.
Born and raised in the Azores, Yusuf Chermiti turned 19 in May, starting for Everton for the first time, and they're really hoping that he clicks. They've also got Beto, another Portuguese player, another striker, who only arrived at the club yesterday but immediately put on the bench by Sean Dyche, and hopefully we'll get to see a bit of him later on as well. But 0-0 for the moment between Doncaster Rovers and Everton here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Mo Fowl, he's one of those, he takes a touch and he's definitely going to lose it here, and then he gets there again and you think he's definitely going to lose it here, and he suddenly gets it again. And his exuberance that time is a foul on Takure, and that's a free kick to Everton, and Takure hasn't moved. He's down, face down on the turf. Referees asked him, does he want treatment? I think he said no, but he's slowly getting back up to his feet. Right, story of the night, no doubt about it, is at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea against AFC Wimbledon, who've scored early. Chris Wise has got the latest.
And they've still got that dream scoreline, AFC Wimbledon, through that Tilly penalty 19 minutes in. Lots of possession for Chelsea since. Chances, though, in terms of decent ones, they're at a premium. We've had Ian Matson with a shot which took a deflection, just went wide of the post. As you expect, Stephen Kelly, Chelsea have had a lot of the ball. The trouble is they're struggling to break the League Two team down.
Yeah, AFC Wimbledon, their shape is excellent. They're so well drilled, making it very hard for Chelsea to play between the lines. And when Chelsea have gone to that final tour, it's a great break here from AFC Wimbledon.
Here's Davidson running forward. Oh, goodness me, the challenge nearly fizzed past Robert Sanchez and made it 2-0 AFC Wimbledon. It's a corner to the visitors instead. You can tell, Connor, we've got a game on here. Chelsea 0, AFC Wimbledon 1.
Thanks, Chris. I think we'll be back soon. Here comes Luke Molyneux down the right
play
side. He had managed to shrug away from Danjuma, and as you can hear from Stephen Warnock, he should have got an advantage. The referee brought it back for a foul. Bailey would have been away down the right-hand side, and that's the boos, that's the protest you can hear in the background.
So frustrating. Let it play out. If you want to bring it back later on, if you think the foul's continuing and he loses the ball, then fair enough.
Free kick's taken short. Westbrook swings it in. Good delivery. Chermiti back there, heads it away, and now a chance of a counter-attack here for Everton. Lewis Dobbin up to the halfway line. He started out great guns, but then he got held up and he's given it away. Everton should have cleared there. Chance to break in. Low ball across the area though from that was Westbrook, and it's easily held on to the goal by the goalkeeper Pickford. Everton should have had a counter-attack there, and they ended up having to defend. Here they come, down the other end. Patterson shows too much of it to Maxwell sliding in. And the ball goes out for a throw into Everton on the far side.
I know it's 0-0. It's a cracking game, isn't it? When you think of what Doncaster are trying to do. Dobbin, though, on the other side of things, should have done better. Just stood on the ball and it lost momentum in the attack, and then a poor pass from him. They've struggled ever so slightly, Everton, just to get that momentum, to get that rhythm to go forward. But that's all from Doncaster's organisation. Stephen Kelly was just talking about Wimbledon being organised. Doncaster are exactly the same here.
So just a delay in taking the throw. The referee's been speaking with Takure. Now we're back underway. Patterson took the throw, gets possession back again, rolls it in low towards the feet of Chermiti, can't make it stick on the edge of the box. It's a familiar feeling that Everton fans have had this season. Neil Maupay, who started up front in the opening day, he missed a few chances, couldn't really hold it up, couldn't bring his teammates into play. Danjuma led the line through the weekend, same old story. I mean, they're creating chances, Everton, but not able to score goals. And we're now up to 300 minutes of football this new season for Everton, and they still haven't scored a goal. Free kick to Doncaster here and a chance for them to clear it away.
I think it's quite clear to see why they haven't scored a goal, isn't it, Connor? There's no patterns of play, there's no sort of individual brilliance to get on the ball and trying to create something. It seems very off the cuff. It seems very reactive, and just wait and see what happens, what opens up for us.
Look at Everton's injury list at the moment. There is a lot of creativity absent at the moment, which I think adds to the point Stephen's just been making with Dwight McNeil. I mean, they're really missing him. Alex Iwobi, Jack Harrison, new signing from Leeds, has arrived with an injury. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is out. Dele Alli's out. You know, that's the creative end of the squad that's unavailable. This is really good play by Maxwell. Scoops the ball into the penalty area. Important header by Mikalenko. Comes down to Broadbent. He fires from the edge of the area. Then another shot comes in, and Pickford was scrambling, but it's away off target. Doncaster are the team atop at the Eco Power Stadium, and Everton are under pressure here. Premier League against League Two, but Doncaster are banging on the door.
Yeah, lovely play by Maxwell down the left hand side, gets his cross in, and as it comes to the edge of the box, it falls to Tommy Rowe. He gets a strike in, that gets blocked, and then as it comes out to Zane Westbrook, one touch out of his feet, gets the strike. I think Pickford was beaten, and it hits one of the posts behind the goal that holds the net up. Great strike, great effort on goal. More of the same from Doncaster. They're dominating this game.
Right, well, it's 0-0 here between Doncaster Rovers and Everton. It's been an exciting opening half hour. You look at Chelsea's season, drew at Liverpool in their opening game, lost at West Ham. They got their first win of the campaign against Premier League new boys Luton at the weekend. Tonight, though, Chris Wise, I don't think they've turned the corner. What's the latest at Stamford Bridge?
An equaliser for Chelsea, another penalty in this game, and this one's been converted as well. Noni Madueke won it with a speedy run on the right-hand side. No doubt about the decision for referee Tony Harrington, and Madueke stepped up and scored the penalty with conviction as well. So right on that 45-minute mark, Chelsea won, AFC Wimbledon won.
Yeah, Madueke's been their best player. Every time he's received the ball, he's been dangerous, he's looked a threat. He's been getting too deep though, but this time he got into the final third. Chelsea on the break here again now.
Yeah, they're breezing forward now, looking to perhaps steal the advantage before half-time. AFC Wimbledon, no doubt with that. So we're in first half stoppage time. Chelsea won, AFC Wimbledon won.
That's right, AFC Wimbledon have already had 3 wins this season, 2 of them in League Two, and one of them in the first round of this competition when they beat Coventry to secure that trip to Stamford Bridge. We'll be back with Chris and Stephen as the evening progresses. 0-0 between Doncaster Rovers and Everton here. Everton bottom of the Premier League and looking for a boost tonight, looking for, you know, a bit of feel-good factor to take into their trip to Sheffield United on Saturday. That's their next Premier League game. Then, of course, it goes into the international break. And, you know, get a win tonight, get a win against Sheffield United, and Everton fans will feel, right, OK, poor start to the season, but we've settled down. But if those two things don't happen, Stephen Wardock, that international break is going to be one of a lot of turmoil, because the transfer window is going to be closed and Everton are going to really feel the heat. So there is a pressure tonight.
Oh, there is, absolutely there is. I mean, the main pressure comes on Saturday against Sheffield United. Tonight would compound it, would make it worse going into that game. However, the Premier League is the bread and butter for Everton. They have to survive, have to make sure that going into that new stadium, they have Premier League football.
Yeah, cup runs won't be the top of the priority list for Everton. We said that right at the start of this evening. The last trophy, the FA Cup in 1995 under Joe Royle, and it means that this is currently the club's longest ever run without major silverware. You go back over the years, the successful Everton teams they've never had a run this long without silverware. And this is their opening game of this League Cup campaign. Mikalenko to the byline left-hand side, hoping he might get a corner, but the last touch went off him. And the applause from the Doncaster fans, because it is a goal kick to them. So Ian Lawler plays ball boy, runs across, gets it, throws the ball down in the 6-yard box and takes it. He, the Doncaster Rovers Irish goalkeeper, has yet to have a proper save to make. In fact, any save to make in this game so far, with over half an hour played now. We're a third of the way through the match. Neat and tidy at the back from Jack Senior to James Maxwell. They do have confidence, Doncaster, to try and play their way out of the back, and once or twice they've been caught. That time Dobbin briefly intercepted, but he wasn't able to hold on to it for long. Patterson takes a throw in on the far side. Onana, who's very strong, holds off the attempted challenge from Tommy Rowe, and then it's played to Danjuma on the near side. Another rough challenge to Owen Bailey. This time the referee says that is a foul. Free kick to Everton, midway into Doncaster territory on the left-hand side. Now they've reached the break, and I believe there's been a late goal before it. Naz Primji's at Harrogate Town against Blackburn Rovers.
Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 4. Comprehensive from Rovers. Jake Garrett, Sam Gallagher, John Buckley and Dylan Marcandy with the latest lovely shot from the edge of the area. Jack Muldoon at a post for the home side, but there's no shock here, Connor. It's Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 4.
Yes, this game here, Doncaster Everton game, started at 8 o'clock. The others were 7:45 kickoffs tonight, which means it's also half-time at Bramall Lane. Here's Betty Glover.
Yeah, goalless at the break. Sheffield United will be frustrated with that first half. Glimmers of nice play, but Lincoln have been defending really well, playing with confidence, not allowing United to really get into this. The most notable chance came from McBurney for the home side. He took a shot from inside the area, but it was well blocked. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln 0.
Everton free kick comes into the penalty area. Onana's done well to turn on the right-hand side. Here comes his cross into the middle. Header up and away though by George Broadbent. They haven't fully cleared it, Doncaster. Pinball inside the penalty area. Knocked back in by Dobbin for Everton and repelled again, so that Garner will get it and place it back to the halfway line. And a huge sigh of relief from Doncaster. That's the most nervous moment really, with the ball pinging around inside their penalty area, but they get it away and the game remains at 0-0. Patterson has possession, halfway line for Everton, playing in blue, playing from right to left as we look down. Mikalenko with the white boots, under pressure from Luke Molyneux, turns, rolls it back to Ben Godfrey, and Godfrey turns and gives it all the way back to Pickford.
Yeah, they're struggling to really create anything, but when they do go long, when they do go a little bit more direct, Everton, it suits them because they've got big players, they've got players that can win the ball in the air.
Header by Michael Keane, straight out for a throw-in, and Everton finding it difficult to comfortably move through the gears, to comfortably turn defence into attack. 0-0 here, and a throw-in to Doncaster near the halfway line, right hand side as they come forward. Back to events in Eindhoven. Rangers hoping to be in tomorrow's Champions League draw. PSV Eindhoven against Rangers, second leg of the playoff. Gavin Wallace.
It's not looking good for them, Connor. They're a goal down. PSV Eindhoven 1, Rangers 0. Ismail Sabari with a close range header on the 35th minute, and if this continues then Rangers will not make it in to that draw tomorrow. 10 minutes to go to half time. PSV 1, Rangers 0, 3-2 on aggregate.
Thanks, Gavin. Big chance for Doncaster here. Luke Molyneux, who stole into the penalty area on the right hand side, and he just couldn't control the ball. It came awkwardly at him. He sort of chested it and didn't get a clean touch, but there was no defender anywhere near him, and if he'd been able to just get his body shape right, that was probably the best chance of the game so far, and let off for Everton.
Yeah, it just bounced so awkwardly in front of him, didn't it? You're almost thinking as it's coming over, go meet it on the full, go and head it or volley it. But they're causing problems, Doncaster. At the other end of the pitch, Chimiti's really struggling from Everton. He can't get hold of the ball. He's getting brushed off it every single time by Alohu, and it's far too easy for Doncaster. There's nothing for Everton to build off.
That's the voice of Stephen Warnock watching this game with us here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. The Carabao Cup tonight at the Eco Power Stadium. I mean, you must have had many situations like that in your playing career, Stephen, you know, coming up from the left-hand side and cross comes in and you're just hoping it bounces nicely for you.
Yeah, I wasn't that far up, Connor.
See, I was trying to be kind to you there. I thought you were going to tell me some story.
I appreciated it, but no.
Oh dear, you see, you can bring the horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Back to Stamford Bridge, Chelsea AFC Wimbledon. Chris Wise.
Chasm between these two clubs, but nothing between them tonight so far. Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1. 2 penalties, Tilly giving Wimbledon the lead 19 minutes in. Madueke won and scored the equaliser for Chelsea in first half stoppage time. It is a cup tie that is still active. Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1.
Yeah, remember, we get outcomes from all these games tonight, even if it goes all the way to penalties. Half-time at the City Ground as well. Nottingham Forest against Burnley. Charlie Slater.
Forest 0, Burnley 0. This has been awful. Fraught with errors. Neither side have managed a single shot on target. To coin a phrase from the legendary Brian Clough, it's not the worst game of football I've ever seen, but it's in the top one. Goalless at the break.
A game as bad as Stephen Warnock was as going forward from left back. Right, let's see if we could get some goals here. 15 minutes to go until half time by the time the stoppages are added on, and Everton have yet to warm the gloves of Ian Lawler, the Doncaster Rovers goalkeeper. Mikalenko, who's crept into midfield as Premier League fullbacks tend to do these days. Patterson will try to take it forward down the right hand side, but he can't find Dobbin, and that's happened too often for Everton. Just the simple things: passes 10 yards, make it stick, first touch. Time and time again, they're making life difficult for themselves.
But again, that comes down to what you're working on the training ground, the patterns of play, the understanding between the players, what you're trying to achieve as you're going down that right hand side, or the interplay between the players. it just looks like they haven't played together before, which is just, it's baffling, really is.
Doncaster hoping for a little bit of history tonight. Since moving to this stadium in 2007, they've never beaten a Premier League club here. Here comes Joe Ironside, controlling it about 5 yards outside the penalty area, laying it back to Mo Fowl. He takes a bit of time to turn, so Everton have got their full complement of defenders back, but a decent crossfield ball picks out Luke Molineux in a bit of room, and now he's got an overlapping run from Bailey outside him. Molineux comes in field, delivers it in. Godfrey jumps in front of his own 6-yard box and heads it away, but only back out as far as Molineux, who tries to bring it with him into the penalty area and is stopped by Onana. Onana tries to turn defence into attack, but the ball towards Dobbin is intercepted by James Maxwell. Doncaster get it back again, and now they're going to get a free kick.
Oh, how well does Maxwell do there, because he stops an attack, sliding challenge on the floor, just gets an interception, then starts an attack. He goes, faces up Onana. I don't think it's a foul, Connor. I think Onana's just so big and strong. He brushes Maxwell to the side. The referee decides that it's a free kick, and this is an opportunity now for Doncaster to either put some quality in, or, as we've seen earlier on, try something inventive, move the ball in a different direction and try and take Everton by surprise.
You know, a lot of similarities between these two teams, and we've been praising Doncaster as the fourth tier side, putting Everton under pressure, but they haven't been able to create chances on target. Free kick's been taken and it's offside as Everton's defence all stepped out together. They are getting into dangerous areas, but they're not pulling the trigger, and you can kind of see from that point of view why, you know, a little bit like Everton, they're waiting for their first league win of the season too. It's the game tonight could well be one on which Strikeforce will actually take a chance and put it in the back of the net.
And the big thing I'd say, though, is, Connor, we expect that from Doncaster because of the league position where they are and the league that they're in. From Everton's point of view, we don't expect them not to create a single opportunity.
If they can't create opportunities against the team at the bottom of the fourth tier, well, then you do worry for Everton in the Premier League. Here's Mikalenko. One goal, of course, can change the narrative for them. Onana, strong challenge in the midfield, does enough to help it onto Doucouré. Now here's Danjuma. It's a team of internationals for Everton. Danjuma, 1-2. Here's the chance. Flashes it across the face of goal. The angle was tight. He was about 6 yards out. He aimed for the far bottom corner, but he's put it wide, and it's the same old. Everton's season of woe in front of goal continues.
Yeah, Grant McCann's furious down in front of us because his team should clear the ball. They tried to be cute, they tried to be clever. Danjuma gets the ball, little 1-2 with Onana. Nana takes a tackle under pressure, but as Danjuma gets in the box, then it's almost like that Elvis shuffle, isn't it, with the knees. He drops the defender, goes to the left hand side, and you're thinking, composure, relax yourself. He doesn't. He's still 100 mile an hour, flashes the ball across the goal. Great opportunity for Everton.
I mean, you contrast, I was at St James's Park on Sunday, the quality of the Darwin Núñez finishes, and again, you know, the angle is kind of tight and you're putting it across the face of the goalkeeper, but just, you know, hit so sweetly, and that wasn't what happened with Danjuma there. It was bending away from the target as he hit it, and this is the problem for Everton. They're not going to get many chances. They've got to take them, and that one should have been at least on target. Throw in taken by Molineux on the right hand side, gets it back again, crossing position, dancing in front of Mikalenko, dummies it on his left boot, then he comes in his right. He's a tricky customer, tries the Cruyff turn about a third time, and Mikalenko eventually slides in and puts it out of play for a throw in. But the Doncaster fans are enjoying this game from Luke Molineux so far. He's been lively.
Yeah, I think he's having a little look at Mikalenko there, saying, I've got you, I know I've got you, you're struggling to deal with me. He can't work him out.
Mikalenko's first appearance of the new season, looking a bit rusty, I think it's fair to say. Doncaster take the throw in. Molineux gives it to George Broadbent. Back to Molineux again. Oh, he's flicked it through. Can Broadbent get on the end of this? Sweeping across comes Michael Keane, and anywhere will do as he blasts it away and out for a throw, and Everton continue to be under pressure. Closing stages of the first half. Throw in will be taken by Molineux again. 2 balls briefly on the pitch, so he just hesitates. Little hush descends over what has been a loud and lively Eco Power Stadium, around about 12,000 in here, and they're hoping that maybe, just maybe, there could be a cup shock on the cards. 0-0 between Doncaster Rovers and Everton on 5 Live And BBC sounds, long ball played forward. Ironside takes it down on his chest inside the penalty area. He's done so well. Molineux onto his left, tries to swing in a shot. It's blocked by Danjuma, but the loose ball ricochets and stays here for Maxwell, who delivers it back in, and not for the first time tonight. He's put too much on that, but Mikalenko wasn't sure what was behind him, and he's put it out for a corner. Corner to Doncaster on the right-hand side.
Yeah, lovely play by Doncaster. Mikalenko's worrying at the back post because he's having a tough game against Molineux. He's thinking, is he behind me? Whereabouts is he? I don't want to take the chance.
A while ago, Doncaster had a very dangerous chance with one of these where they had a rehearsed move, and they're going to try another one here that's rolled short. And here, the same thing again. No one marking Tommy Rowe, and he plays it in, and it's flicked, and it's in! Lightning strikes twice, and this time it hits the target. Doncaster Rovers, bottom of the 4th Division, lead Premier League Everton, and it's Joe Ironside who's flicked it in front of goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. That same corner routine happened 10 minutes ago. Everton didn't learn the lesson, and Sean Dyche's team have been punished. We've a cup set on our hands here, short of half-time at the Eco Power Stadium. Doncaster lead Everton. Everton's misery deeper than ever this season.
Well, there was cries in front of us, put it in the box, get it in there when they went short. They were calm, they were patient. The ball from Tommy Rowe is delicious. It's just asking to be attacked. The Everton defenders come out too quick. They all get caught underneath the ball. Joe Ironside times his run to perfection. Pickford comes off his line and he just glances it past him with the finest of headers, and it's nothing short of what Doncaster deserve.
Lovely ball in from the captain, Tommy Rowe. What a time to score, just as the 4th official raises the board to indicate just 2 minutes to be added on. Sean Dyche is fuming. He's standing down there, statuesque, looking at proceedings here. His expensively assembled, highly paid Premier League squad have not been able to act cohesively against the team at the bottom of the Football League. And Dyche he's got a job to do here, because this was not a goal against the run of play. This was not a flash in the pan. Doncaster have created the better chances in the match. They've finally taken one. Everton, who still haven't scored a goal this season, trailing away from home, and this could be quite the story brewing here now.
Oh, wait till you hear the boos at half-time. If it stays 1-0, the fans will let the team know. They'll let Sean Dyche know it's unacceptable. It's been very, very poor so far, but here come Everton.
Chermiti laying it up for Onana, shots on target, saved away by Ian Lawler. Everton's first shot on target of the game. He kept it low, Onana, and the goalkeeper saved it with his legs. Down the other end, Molineux, who's having a great game against Mikalenko. Ukrainian stops him here 20 yards inside the Everton half. Throw in to Doncaster Rovers. Everton's first shot on target coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half, when they're already 1 goal down.
Yeah, it's the first time that Chermiti's been able to hold the ball up. He brings in Onana, gets a good strike in at goal. Low save with his feet from Ian Lawler. That's the first time he's been tested.
Ironside's proving to be a real handful here, and he's been fouled by Michael Keane. He was all action there. He was throwing himself into challenges, making a real nuisance of himself, and he's managed to get the free kick here, which is over by the corner flag. This corner flag from where the goal was mustered just a few minutes ago. Great noise and atmosphere inside the Eco Power Stadium. This is a team that haven't won in the league in these early games of the campaign, but their supporters have been treated to something special here, with their Premier League opponents being made to squirm. Free kick is taken short. Westbrook has it, gives it back to Molineux. Dummies the cross, gives it back to Westbrook. Now it comes in, low and hard, and shot, and saved by Pickford to deny Tommy Rowe. It's not away, it ricochets back into the England goalkeeper's arms, and then he tries to blaze it away as the referee blows the whistle for half-time. Doncaster could have doubled their lead ahead of the break, and they get a standing ovation. They get heroes' applause as they make their way to the dugouts. But look at the Everton players' body language. They are slow, they are sauntering, the heads are down, and they are behind. in this League Cup tie. Stephen Warnock, we've got a story on our hands.
Oh, we certainly have, and Doncaster fully deserve the lead going into half-time. Possession-wise, they've dominated. Chances created, they've dominated. Pressure that they've put on Everton, they've overrun them in midfield, in forward areas. Overall, Doncaster have been outstanding. Everton well below par, and their struggles continue.
Well, we don't have the benefit of any action replays in our radio commentary position here at the tight Eco Power Stadium press box, but I've been told, Steve Crossman, that the goal might have been offside. I don't know if you've been able to see it, but some suggestion that Everton might have been done a disservice. I mean, you know, when you're down, this is the kind of thing that happens to you, isn't it?
Well, I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be in that dressing room with Sean Dyche anyway, but after he sees the replay, it will be even worse, because Joe Ironside was offside, and it's one of those where, you know, it's not but for VAR, it's one of those where the referee's assistant probably should have seen it. However, Stephen Warnock, I'm going to chuck that out, because Doncaster Rovers deserve to be ahead, don't they?
Yeah, they do, Steve. They've been superb. They've set themselves up in a shape that has made it very difficult for Everton to play out from the back. They've gone direct. They haven't been able to hold the ball up, but that's all been from Doncaster's good shape and the work rate, but also as well having composure to play on the ball, trying to find players in space. They understand what the game plan was tonight. I can see a game plan from Doncaster. I don't see one from Everton.
That is exactly what I was thinking watching it, Stephen. 35 minutes. That's how long it took Everton to have a touch inside the Doncaster Rovers penalty area.
And that was the long ball up.
Yeah, what are
So it comes from a long free kick into the box. It's not even creating an opportunity, Steve. And that's my big thing when I watch Everton at the moment is, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get wingers on the ball in 1v1 situations? Well, if you are, how do you do that? You've got Dobbin and Danjuma down the sides. How do you get them in situations where they're 1v1 in wide areas? Are you working on that in training, or is it all about being organised and compact and trying to win a game 1-0 and being hard to play against? What do you want to try and achieve? And at the moment, I'm not really seeing either of those things.
And against a team from League Two, who, with all due respect to Doncaster Rovers, have been absolutely brilliant in that first half, it should be really, really worrying for an Everton fan, shouldn't it? Not just the scoreline, but against a team bottom of the Football League, if you're a Premier League team and you watch them for 45 minutes and you don't know what they're trying to do, let alone what they are doing.
No, it's really poor, Steve. And the thing for me is that you should be able to look on the pitch and say, wow, I see it with him. I see that quality of the Everton player. That's why he's in the Premier League. At the moment, I'm watching thinking, I don't see any quality. I don't see anyone. The only one you see every now and again is Danjuma. When he faces someone up, he's got that blistering pace. He's got that quick footwork. Anana's he's wasting his talent for me in midfield. He's so talented, but he's a 1 in 7 game player. He'll turn up every now and again. He'll put in a performance where you go, wow, there it is. That's what he's capable of. But every single game, he should be at that level because he's a young lad. He's fully capable. He should be dominating this midfield for his stature and his ability. But he doesn't, and that's the problem with Everton. They don't have enough big game players who dominate games, who want to dominate games and want to showcase how good a player they are and why they play in the Premier League.
Outstanding first half for Doncaster Rovers of League Two, who lead Everton by 1-0. Other scores for you just starting the second half in these games: Sheffield United 0, Lincoln 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 0, Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 4, and Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1. Let's get the latest then, because the half-time whistle has gone in the Philips Stadion. PSV Eindhoven against Rangers in the second leg of the Champions League playoff. Gavin Wallace.
Yes, the PSV Eindhoven 1, Rangers 0, 3-2 on aggregate to the hosts, and to be honest, it was all one-way traffic. It was an Ismail Sabari 35th minute goal, his first in the Champions League this season, is the difference between the two teams. And to be honest, Steve, it was a matter of when and not if for the hosts. The vast majority of that half, I say, was all one-way traffic. The hosts having a plethora of chances, Rangers really only having one of note on the notepad. That came on 31 minutes. Cyril Dessers threw on goal but screwed the shot well wide from inside the box. That goal though came in the 35th minute, as we say. It was a great header. The ball in was absolutely delightful, and Ismail Sabari was never going to miss from there. A couple of minutes before that, he came really close from close range. Jack Butland from about 7 or 8 yards out had to get down with the left foot and save extremely smartly as well. And on 20 minutes, Luke de Jong Jong really should have scored from a header, a Bakayoko cross towards the back post. The goalkeeper couldn't come for it. 3 Rangers defenders were completely out-jumped by Luke de Jong, who closed his eyes, and really, Steve, he should have scored. It could be 2 or 3 to the visitors, but it's still alive for Rangers at half-time. PSV Eindhoven 1, Rangers 0, 3-2 on aggregate.
Well, we've got Pat Nevin with us all night, of course, probably with half an eye on Chelsea, Pat, but even if you'd looked away for 20 minutes, you would have done well to have found a Rangers attack there.
Yeah, I actually think they started the first 5 or 10 minutes quite well. They tried to be really physical. They're quite lucky they didn't get a couple of players booked. Referee let it go a little bit, but just as the game went on, just as Gavin was saying, the PSV have taken over, creating chances, not exactly at will, but fairly regularly. And at the moment, Rangers just seem to have one idea, and that is to try and break behind a quite high line of defence. Now, they will get 1 or 2 more chances in this game. Problem is, as we're seeing, they're giving away too many opportunities. Sabari, he should have scored, as Gavin was saying beforehand. He had a great chance, missed that one as well. But what really impressed me, they saw there was a mistake, a real problem with Rangers in the right back area. Tavernier's brilliant going forward, but they were stressing them early on. They were trying to play the ball behind them early on. They weren't getting any joy until they did. And when they finally got to the byline, little cross from Lang to that middle of the goal, nobody near Sabari coming in, but they knew where the weakness is, and they found it, and they made good use of it. Rangers, as you say, aren't out. I'm sure they will get chances, but if they lose another goal, they'll get problems.
So what do you think? You know, you've watched Mick Beale's Rangers for long enough now, Pat. Do you think he's likely to just try and stay in the game, stay in the tie until 70-80, or change things dramatically now?
Steve, I don't think it's deliberate. I don't think he's doing it deliberate. He's trying to leave Matondo up. He's trying to leave Dessers up. And the way he's doing it, it's almost like he's trying to do maybe a diamond in the middle, Cantwell trying to get forward. But as the game is going on, you know, PSV have just passed around them. PSV look better technically on the ball constantly throughout the game. And you can tell that Rangers, and rightly so, they're trying to be as physical as they can to try and put them off the stride. They sadly haven't put them off the stride. And they've got a number of players that have really caught the eye. Lang in the left-hand side, he was the one who set up the pass for the goal that they scored, but also on the right-hand side, Bakayoko has put in some stunning crosses that Rangers have been lucky to get away with. So it's a tough night so far, but as you say, it's not over. I don't think he's sitting back. I don't think he's asked his team to do that. I just think they're being not exactly played off the park, but they are second best.
Our main focus is the EFL Cup tonight, this competition which can cause the most dramatic shocks, but not always, Naz Premji.
Absolutely not here. Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 5. John Buckley with a penalty after Tronstadt was fouled in the box. Easy as you like for the Championship side. Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 5.
We'll be back to Flushing Meadows, and then we've got second half commentary of Doncaster Rovers against Everton. Rovers leading by 1-0 in the second round of the EFL Cup. All of that to come after the news with Joe Critcher.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Possible shock on the cards tonight at the Eco Power Stadium. League 2 Doncaster Rovers leading Everton by 1-0. Second half commentary on the way. We might yet have 1 or 2 other shocks. What about at Stamford Bridge? Chelsea against League 2 AFC Wimbledon. Chris Wise.
10 minutes into the second half, it might still happen. You never know. Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1. Both those goals in the first half by penalties from Tilly and Madueke. Pochettino, by the way, Steve, at half-time, he went down the tunnel before the end of the first half. He was obviously irritated. He's taken off Diego Moreira at half-time, so that debut lasted 45 minutes. Nicholas Jackson's on in his place. He's already had a chance in the second half. Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1.
All Premier League tie at the City Ground. Charlie Slater.
53 on the clock here, and it's Forest 0, Burnley 0. The second half has got to be better than the first. That said, we hardly got going again before a lengthy stoppage. Aaron Ramsey off injured on his first start for the club. Sander Berger is now on in his place, and we've got another lengthy stoppage now with another Burnley player down. Still 0-0.
And what about at Bramall Lane? Sheffield United against League 1 Lincoln City. Betty Glover.
Still goalless, nearly 58 on the clock. Second half has been mostly the home side. Sheffield United looking more lively. New signing Cameron Archer had a great opportunity to impress the home fans on his day debut. He was in the area, one-on-one with the keeper, but his low shot was easily saved. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln 0.
Here on 5 Live, we're just about ready for the second half to get underway. Doncaster Rovers of League 2 in the second round of the EFL Cup, leading Everton of the Premier League at the break. Stephen Warnock's with Conor McNamara.
Thanks very much, Steve. Right, we're about to get back underway. Both teams back out. Everton making 3 changes over half-time. I'm not enormously surprised. Sean Dyche had to do something, trailing by a 0-0 against the club at the very bottom of the 92 of the Football League. So the headline piece of news is the new striker, Beto from Portugal, fee up to 30 million, only arrived yesterday. He comes on in place of Yusuf Chermeti, 19-year-old Portuguese player who just wasn't involved at all, couldn't get a purchase in the game. Let's see if Beto, who's joined from Udinese, can do any better. Idrissa Gueye has come into the midfield, and Ashley Young has come on as well. So we'll keep an eye on where they're all going to play. Looks like Ashley Young's going to play at right back. Mikolenko's still on the left-hand side.
He's not. He's playing right wing and Garner's playing right back. That's what I'm baffled at. I was just watching it then thinking, why is Ashley Young playing right wing and Garner's playing right back?
Well, let's keep an eye on that and see if it settles down that way. Everton playing from left to right as we look down now in their blue and white. Doncaster Rovers in the red and white, still celebrating Joe Ironside's goal in the latter stages of the first half that has really electrified this cup tie and has us scrambling through the record books and looking for Everton's worst cup defeats of all time, because those things could be in the news headlines tomorrow. The way things are shaping up, Sean Dyche's team have 45 minutes here to try and put things straight and to try and stamp their Premier League authority. So I'll give you a rundown of the teams in just a moment, but it's Ironside's goal, familiar name from his exploits at Cambridge when he knocked out Newcastle 2 seasons ago. Here they come down the left-hand side. Doncaster crossing position, low ball in. Tommy Rose arriving at the edge of the penalty area, but it's taken away from him, and the first touch at Everton goal is for Beto, and he's a big strong boy and he wins a free kick. And it was Joseph Aloa who was the defender holding on to him.
That's better from Beto, straight away. Give them someone to hold the ball up. Holds it up well, strong, and buys the free kick straight away. That's going to have to be a difference for Everton in this game.
So I think it's James Garner who's gone off, and Dobbin who's gone off for Idrissa Gueye and Young, and then Beto has replaced Chermiti up top. It's the same Doncaster Rovers team that started the night. Ian Lawler, the goalkeeper. Bailey, Jack Senior, Joseph Aloa, the defenders, with James Maxwell, who's come forward with regularity down the left-hand side. Luke Molyneux, who's been electrifying on the right wing. Then Zane Westbrook, George Broadbent, Tommy Rowe in the middle. And then Mo Fall alongside the goal scorer, Joe Ironside up front. Here come Everton. Beto, number 14 on his back. Rolls it to Ashley Young on the right-hand side. The two substitutes combining. Low delivery in for the former England international. And then Beto commits a foul. And that's going to be a free kick and a chance for Doncaster to relieve pressure. Right, well, he's making himself known. He's putting his weight around. He's creating an impact so far. Beto, the Everton career is up and running.
Yeah, he's done more in the first couple of minutes, 3 minutes, than Chermeti did in the first half. So that is positive from Everton's point of view. The Everton fans will like what they've seen so far. I know it's very early, but straight away you can see the hunger and the desire to make an impact.
1-0 to Doncaster Rovers. Ironside, the goal scorer, wins a header, flicking it on to Fowl. He goes down looking for a free kick. Referee says play on because it's rolled back to Ironside again into the penalty area. Tries to cut it back, blocked by Garner, and that goes out for a corner kick. Corner to Doncaster on the left-hand side as they come forward.
He's like Paolo one-shot Fowl, isn't he? Just that unassuming, like gangly legs, telescopic legs. You don't think he's quite going to get there. Then he manages to just pull out a leg and put Doncaster back on the ascendancy and win his team a corner.
The goal came right at the end of the first half. It came from a corner. This one again is rolled to the edge of the penalty area. Broadbent gets it back again for the second time, fancies it, puts the laces through it, and then diving down to his right hand side, Jordan Pickford makes the save. Pickford, who's Everton's captain tonight.
Surely at half time you look at the first goal or the goal and you say 2v1s, 3v2s, stop it happening from corners. Straight away 3v2 situation down the side, I'm thinking someone else come out and help, someone come and stop that happening. They haven't learnt, Everton.
It is proving to be a steep learning curve for Sean Dyche, and a difficult job when he came in to take over midway through last season. Mission was to keep Everton in the Premier League at all costs. They stayed up by a hair's breadth, Doucouré's goal on the last day of the season, keeping Everton in the top flight. Now, new campaign was supposed to be different, pushing on, expanding. But it feels like Everton, if anything, have retracted. You look at their early performances, still to score a goal this season. Here's Beto controlling it with his shin pad. It's come back to him fortuitously. A low is brushed aside. Beto gets in the penalty area. Here's a ball in. Ashley Young heads it down, comes off the shoulder of the defender, Jack Senior. Doncaster clear away. Ironside is going to sprint. Keane had a head start on him. Michael Keane gives it back to Pickford, and the Everton goalkeeper clears it away out to Garner on the right hand side. I think I said mistakenly earlier that Garner got off. It was Patterson who went off at half time. Here's Idrissa Gana, one of the substitutes who've come on. This is a team that you would expect Everton to field in the Premier League. They are behind against the club at the bottom of the fourth tier, and they've given away possession again. Cheers from the Doncaster fans as it rolls through to the goalkeeper Ian Lawler, away to our right hand side. So this was an 8 o'clock kick-off. They are well into the second half of the City Ground. Nottingham Forest against Burnley. Here's Charlie Slater with the latest.
Yeah, 63 minutes on the clock. We had a lengthy stoppage. It is still 0-0 between Forest and Burnley. Hjalmar Ekdal had to be carried off on a stretcher, right leg in a brace after trying to block a shot from Ryan Yates. Looked like a really nasty injury. Still goalless here.
Maxwell plays it forward for Doncaster. Ironside always the willing runner, but this one beats him to the penalty area, and it rolls into the grasp of Jordan Pickford. Everton trying to come forward again. Flick off by Beto towards Ashley Young. Ashley Young, who's playing, this is like a throwback here, up as a right winger. Since coming on, Ashley Young with Beto in the middle, Danjuma on the left hand side. They're the front three at the moment for Everton. But here come Doncaster, who've got that wonderful intangible in football, momentum. They've got belief. They've got a goal that has them in front against Premier League opposition. And now the question is, are they going to be able to hold on to it as Mikalenko attacks down the left-hand side, leans back as he sends in a cross. Beto made a run to the front post, cross-sailed over his head and goes out for a throw into Doncaster.
Yeah, but there's been more purpose about Everton. They've got more injection of pace into the team. You can see that from the outset. It's been better. It's not been great, but it's been better from Everton.
Sean Dyche knows all about giant killings in cup competitions. As a player, he was the captain of Chesterfield when they were in the third tier and they got to the FA Cup semi-finals in 1997, eventually losing to Middlesbrough after a replay. And here, he's the manager of the big boys, the Premier League side, up against Doncaster Rovers of League Two. Beto. So many touches since coming on. I mean, he has looked good, you have to say it. And here he is, hustling for possession again, trying to barge his way into the penalty area. And he's barged a bit too forcefully there. He's collided with, I think it's Jack Senior who's gone down, and he's going to need some treatment. We mentioned the physicality of Beto. Defenders bouncing off him there, and he went cannoning into Jack Senior, who's lying down at the edge of the penalty area.
Liking what I'm seeing though. I like it straight away. Wants to get involved in the game. Coming off, little one and two touch layoffs, then the ability to receive the ball, turn, drive at players, and he absolutely emptied him, didn't he? He took him out, no prisoners at all, and he bounced back up himself.
Back to the Avaro bench, back to Naz Premji watching Harrogate Town against Blackburn Rovers.
Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 6. Zach Gilsenan with a lovely free kick edge of the area. Best goal of the night. The substitutes made it 6-0 to Blackburn Rovers.
Thanks very much, Naz. You know, you look on paper, international quality of players who've played at major tournaments, players who've won trophies in the past, and that sort of 6-0 scoreline is not unfeasible to what Everton should have been expecting to have here, but it rarely works out that way in football. And when you don't have momentum, and when you're bottom of the Premier League, and when questions have been asked, and when new signings are struggling to settle in, and when established players are injured, well, it can all feel very insurmountable. At the moment, Everton on their way out of the League Cup at the very first hurdle, trailing as they do by 1-0 away at Doncaster. Beto tries to take it down again. Everton players have realised this guy's got something about him, and time again now it's been played directly up to him. Here's Zane Westbrook for Doncaster. He tries to get it forward to Mo Fall. Fall is dispossessed by Idrissa Gueye there, who we know is so good at doing that, making little interceptions, does it all the time in the Premier League. He's going to give more solidity to the base of the Everton midfield, you would imagine. Garner on the right hand side touches it into Godfrey. Body language from Godfrey there, uncomfortable. He's waving his arms, he's suggesting he wanted better options to pass to there, as Everton have to hold on to the back. Garner rolls it short to Ashley Young. wearing the white boots. Jack Senior leaning into it. Young gets the head up, looks for support. Decorum provides it, ball straight out of play. Possession back to Doncaster Rovers. Still Doncaster 1, Everton 0.
Well, you're saying Godfrey's looking for movement, he's looking for a pass. Everyone's static, everyone's stood still. It's far too easy for Doncaster to defend against because they know they can just push up against players and it's a straight ball from them.
Doncaster have had 3 different managers in the last 12 months. Gary McSheffrey, Danny Schofield, Grant McAdams back again. Here they come on the attack. Chance for foul. Shoots from the penalty spot. Saved away, and again Everton hanging on here as Doncaster look for the second goal and the chance to turn the screw. Molyneux twisting and turning up against Issa Dranagay. He sends a ball into the penalty area. There's hesitation there from Pickford. Foul wins a header, but it bounces off Michael Keane and into the body of the goalkeeper. Well, Everton have hearts in their mouths there, and Doncaster causing havoc inside the Everton penalty area, but they can't get the ball to the back of the net, and it remains Doncaster 1, Everton 0.
Well, but for a magnificent block from, I think it was Garner Gay, who manages to get himself across. That is a goal-saving challenge, and it could have easily been 2-0 to Doncaster.
Goal in Eindhoven. PSV Eindhoven against Rangers tonight in the Champions League playoff. Here's Gavin Wallace.
53 on the clock. Corner, Ismail Sabari again. It's a 2-yard tap in. Luke de Jong at the back post, stretching to get the ball across, and Pat Evan. Rangers on the ropes now.
Absolutely on the ropes. They're probably out of their own half in this second half. They need to do something different. Michael Beale has to shake it up, change of personnel, change the system, anything at all. Right now they look as if they're going out and they're 2-0 down. It could be a lot worse.
PSV Eindhoven 2, Rangers 0, 4-2 on the night, Connor.
Thanks very much. A little moment here that sums up the game, I feel. There was a ball trickling out for a corner. Would have been an Everton corner. Molyneux, incredible work rate, sprinted back 30 yards to get there. We had the perfect angle where we're sitting. He hit it against the corner flag and it went out on the corner side. It should have been a corner to Everton. The referee from a different angle running further back wasn't able to see it and gave it through it. It's little things like that. The work rate from Doncaster and Everton not getting the rub of the green, and you combine it all, and that's why Sean Dyche is in trouble here. 4th game of the season. His team have still to score a goal. They're trailing 1-0 here. Mikalenko into the penalty area. Not good enough. Too high. Easily claimed by Ian Lawler. Beto is in there. He's huge, but he can't get to that. Too high.
Yeah, 3 or 4 moments where Mikalenko's got to the touchline and looked to put crosses into the box. The quality simply hasn't been there from him. He's been poor tonight and he's struggled in the game. That's a foul. Oh, he's not give it. How's he not give that? Foul, clear foul on Onana.
Shake of the head from referee Tom Reeves. And Jack Senior slow to get back to his feet just outside the penalty area that Doncaster Rovers are defending. So play will resume, presumably with the throw into Doncaster. There's 57 minutes of the clock. This second half is actually going past very quickly. We've had 12 minutes already. Beto's come on, he's thrown himself around. The experience of Idrissa Gana Gueye, of Ashley Young. Can Everton get the equaliser? Can they go and win this game? And even one goal, Doncaster would still be with a huge chance. Throw in for Doncaster, right down below us. James Maxwell, a former Rangers player, moved to Doncaster a year ago. He takes his time over this throw in now. Number 3 on his back, down the left wing. Flicked on by Joe Ironside, the man who scored the goal at the back end of the first half. Last touch came off an Evertonian. That'll be another throw into Doncaster. They move further incrementally up the pitch. Maxwell's throw is infield this time. Broadbent sends it forward. Ironside reacted quicker than Godfrey, but the reason was because Godfrey was holding his line in order to catch Joe Ironside offside. Free kick to Everton, they've taken it quickly. James Garner sprints up to the halfway line. His attempted ball forward is cut out by Maxwell. Maxwell's good at that. He's done that a few times tonight. He's cut out attempted through balls from Evertonians. This is Idrissa Gueye. Back to Michael Keane. 10 yards inside his own penalty area. Plays a little 1-2 with Idrissa Gueye once again. Now he tries to get it going through the midfield, but it was left by Decorum. I think he thought Bennett was behind him. Cleared away by Alowu for Doncaster, but Everton get it back. This is Onana. Garner's taken off on a run down the right-hand side, and tracking that all the way was Broadbent, and he's got himself into a muddle here. Garner into the penalty area, saving the day. Joseph Alowu sweeping across and putting it out for a throw.
Oh, the covering in this shape has been magnificent from Doncaster, making sure if one player falls down, the next one's there to recover, to help his teammates. Been really impressive.
last time we heard from Nas Premji, Blackburn Rovers had 6 away at Harrogate Town. There's another goal, Nas.
Another 2 actually. Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 8. On debut, Thomas blocks them, and just a minute ago, James Edmondson's fired in. It is a rout now. Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 8, and still 15 minutes to go here. We could get to double figures.
Goals there, but no great cut shock. Chelsea, who went behind early on against AFC Wimbledon, and they'll have 20 minutes or so to go, Chris Wise?
And the shock is slowly dissipating because Chelsea has spun it around. They're leading 2-1. It's really unfortunate. Is Alex Bass, the AFC Wimbledon goalkeeper. He's cleared it into a Chelsea player. It's then hit one of his own players. It's deflected to one of Chelsea's substitutes, Enzo Fernandez, who took his time outside the box and then swept it into an empty net. Chelsea 2, AFC Wimbledon 1.
Yeah, Bass was scrambling back across. He hasn't put a foot wrong all game. He's been excellent, very confident in his box, and feel good for him that drop to him. But listen, if you can bring on a £100 million World Cup winner into a game like this, you've got a chance of winning it, don't you?
Yeah, and I think AFC Wimbledon to an extent will be smiling about that, the fact that that's what Chelsea have needed to essentially and potentially see them off. We're in the 74th minute now. Chelsea 2, AFC Wimbledon 1.
No goals at the City Grounder at Bramall Lane. 1-0 here at the Eco Power Stadium. Doncaster Rovers maybe on the verge of some history, still leading Everton by a 1-0, having never beaten a Premier League club since moving to this stadium in 2007. Everton, who lost to Shrewsbury famously in the FA Cup in 2003. Shrewsbury, who were towards the bottom of the 4th tier back then, but they weren't quite bottom of the table as Doncaster are now. These are worrying moments for Everton, and despite a definite improvement since half-time, it was woeful in the first half, improvement, still not good enough, Steve Moore.
No, it's not at the moment, and I'm just watching the back line now, and they're looking for players. All the Everton players are stood up against Doncaster players, man for man, just in their eye line. There's no movement, there's no rotation to try and find space, and it is very, very frustrating for the Everton fans.
A reminder, more live football coming up on Saturday. Burnley against Tottenham is the pick of the games for Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton at 3 o'clock. We'll also bring you a commentary of Brighton against Newcastle, that's at 5:30. And on Sunday, Old Firm time, Rangers against Celtic from 12 noon. And we'll have commentary of Liverpool against Arsenal at 2 and Liverpool against Aston Villa at 2, and a big one at 4:30, Arsenal hosting Manchester United. That's all to come live on 5 Live. Here is Mo Fowl just outside the penalty area that Doncaster Rovers attacked, but shut down immediately by Idrissa Gueye. Doncaster Rovers regain possession, back with Jack Senior. He'll roll it to Joseph Olowu. The performance of Doncaster tonight completely belies the start to the season that they've had. They've had 4 defeats, 1 draw from their opening 5 league games. Their only victory they've had in any competition was when they beat Hull last month in the first round of this competition. But you look at them tonight, I mean, this is the definition of raising your game. When you know you've got a high profile game and everyone is trying so hard here, the effort being put in man to man by Doncaster has been so impressive.
It has, and do you know when teams are under pressure, and usually a League One or a League Two team in this competition against Premier League team, and they're just looking to clear the ball aimlessly up the pitch, that's Everton tonight. Whenever they're under pressure, there's not a way out of the situation. There isn't a ball up top that gets them out of the pressure situation. They're just lumping it long, and it's very, very poor.
Advertising board all around the stadium is advertising a message. It says visit Doncaster, which I don't think Everton fans are going to want to do anytime soon, given the way this has gone so far tonight. Ball in from a free kick into the penalty area. Maxwell tries to hook it on the edge of the D, but chance of a breakaway for Everton. Onana sprints with long strides, but he's stopped. It was Broadbent sliding in, putting it out for a throw in on the far side. That's where Doncaster have been so good. Any opportunity for Everton, invariably they've been able to shut it down early before it becomes a major threat.
Yeah, Westbrook and Broadbent in the middle of midfield have just dovetailed so well in that position to make sure that anything that is beating one player, the other one's mopping it up.
Garner, chance to cross on the right hand side, bounced up nicely for him. That's a good header out by Olowu, because Beto was arriving and Decore was in there too. There was aerial threat from Everton, and Olowu managed to get there first and head the ball away. Here comes Ashley Young operating in a more central position now. Gives it to Garner again. on the right hand side. If you missed our coverage earlier on, the goal came from Joe Ironside before half time, and television replays have suggested it shouldn't have been allowed. It should have been offside. No VAR in these early rounds of the League Cup at the lower league teams, as a cross comes in and a header from Beto, and he couldn't get firm touch on it, and it's an easy save for the goalkeeper. So people who don't like VAR, and there is much to criticise about it, but it's nights like tonight when a clear offside goal should or shouldn't have stood. That is when it does come in very handy. I think Evertonians would have wished there was VAR here tonight in that respect. Here's the goal scorer, Joe Ironside, out-muscled by Michael Keane, helped out by Ben Godfrey. Nearly loses it on the halfway line, though. Everything's so difficult for Everton at the moment. Just the little movements proving to be arduous. Here is Idrissa Gana bringing the ball out of defence. Lime green boots. Passes it up to Onana. Onana's got Luke Molineux climbing all over him, but he plays a smart 1-2, and then he rolls the ball in front of Mikalenko. Mikalenko into the penalty area, and it could have gone in for an own goal, but it flicks up over the goalkeeper, up over the crossbar, and out for a corner off Joseph Olowu, who's been very busy in this second half.
Yeah, he had to make contact on him, and he just had his heart in his mouth thinking, is this going to go into the top corner? Ian Lawler in the Doncaster goal was just hoping that it was going to fly over the top of the crossbar, and it does. That's better from Everton. Little 1-2 down the left hand side with Mikalenko, who finally puts a quality ball into the middle.
You might be just tuning in, maybe you've just got in the car, maybe you've just flicked on through BBC Sounds in your phone and you're wondering what all the fuss is about tonight at the Eco Power Stadium. Well, Doncaster Rovers, who are the very bottom club of the Football League, of the 92 clubs, they are ranked bottom at the moment. They are leading Everton by 1-0. Everton corner, swung in from the right hand side by Garner, header by Onana in there, who's hurt his face in the process. He's slow to get back up to his feet, but he does get back up. Doncaster need to push out here. Why are they so slow? Idrissa Gana plays it forward, right-footed ball into the penalty area for Everton, hooked away by Zane Westbrook, and the huge roar from the home supporters to get their players to push out. Maybe for the first time, a few signs of fatigue for the League 2 team now. They were slow to react after that corner kick was cleared away, and there's still a fair way to go here. We've a quarter of this match remaining. Doncaster better not be getting tired yet.
No, it's early doors, isn't it, to be feeling that fatigue. They haven't had as much possession in this second half, which makes it easier on your legs, but this has been really difficult for them. So in the last probably 10 or so minutes,
one goal between them here, scored by Joe Ironside. There's been a goal in Eindhoven. Rangers in their Champions League qualifying playoff second leg. Gavin Wallace will tell us about it.
They had pulled one back on the 63, but the 63rd minute corner, James Tavernier with a tap in at the back post from Sam Lammers. He received the ball in from Cantwell, but literally just before you came to us there, Luke de Jong has headed home from close range, and it now could be all over for Rangers. It's 5-3 on aggregate, 3-1 on the night, Pat Nevin.
You know what, they changed it. They brought on a man who changed the game completely for them. But I think PSV seemed to take their foot off the gas when they needed to put it on again. They got a goal seconds later. What a shame. Rangers were in it, but only momentarily.
PSV Eindhoven 3, Rangers 1, 5-3 on aggregate now, Connor.
Thanks very much to Gavin and to Pat. We're midway through the second half at the Eco Power Stadium. Still Doncaster Rovers leading Everton by 1-0. The goal from Joe Ironside, the former Cambridge United player who's got a history of troubling the big boys in cup competitions. Everton, I'm just thinking, having made those 3 changes at half-time, Stephen, Neil Maupay is the only attacking player left on the bench. I mean, he's got defenders like Tarkovsky and Brantwaite on there. He's got the goalkeeper. An offside flag is raised, just as Ashley Young thought he might have been in to shoot, but Beto, as he played the ball in, the flag shot up.
It was actually out of play, Connor. He actually ran it out of play, Beto, but the pace of Beto then, he knocked it. He probably had 7 yards to gain on James Maxwell, and he just burst past him without even getting out of stride. It was brilliant to see. He's going to be quick and dangerous in behind.
I think he's going to be good to watch in the Premier League, isn't he? I mean, he's, as with all strikers, it's his goal record that is going to be the judge, but he certainly is keen. He is putting himself around, he's chasing down lost causes, and he's not just staying in the middle. He'll go to the wings, he'll come deep, he's hungry to be involved as much as he can, and you feel that's what Everton need as much as anything at the moment. Here he is again, possession inside the centre circle. Oh dear, curse to the commentator as he gives it away. The short pass to Onana, cut out by Westbrook.
Typical. It's just one of those things, isn't it?
Build you up, Beto. and you let me down. Darkened skies overhead. There was brightness in the air, and we kicked off on this late August evening. Doncaster in South Yorkshire. Quite a story brewing here, though. Luke Molineux outfoxed by Mikalenko, who's beginning to warm into the game now and showing the quality that he should have. Not a great pass there, by the way. And Ashley Young was cleaned out as he bravely got a touch on. Young gets up, play continues. Danjuma can't keep the ball in play, and the big cheer is from the Doncaster fans as another Everton attack peters out. Sean Dyche goes over to a cooler, an icebox. He takes out a bottle of water, screws off the lid, has a swig, roars in his gravelly voice. But he can't believe what he's seeing here. 4 games in, no goals yet. There's a big cheer around the stadium as the home side make a change. Tyler Roberts, who's on loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers, is going to come on in place of the captain. Tommy Rowe, who sent in the cross that led to the goal that separates the teams. He's the player who makes way, and on comes Tyler Roberts. So, interesting to see what this does to their formation now. Can Doncaster keep up the work rate that has proved them well so far?
Well, I think Luke Molineux just moves inside into that position where Tommy Rowe was, just ahead of the midfield too. He'll be the creative player in behind the front two of Ironside and Mo Fall, and then Tyler Roberts will move out onto that right hand side.
Tyler Roberts, who's yet to make a senior appearance for his parent club Wolves, but he has featured in all three, not all three, of 3 of Doncaster's league games so far this new season. Let's see what impact he can make, because Molineux had done very well out on that right wing up until now. Broadbent, neat and strong in the midfield. Westbrook, those two combining well, as Stephen mentioned a few minutes ago. The direct ball is towards Ironside, cut out by Ben Godfrey. Everton get it back, and James Garner comes over the halfway line on the right hand side. Tried to play it in low to the feet of Beto, but that was telegraphed. Intercepted by Jack Senior. Not a great pass out to Roberts for his first touch having come on, and Mikalenko's able to nip in and win it back for Everton. Here's a chance into the penalty area. Ashley Young pulls it back. Danjuma back to goal. Beto with the dreadful shot. He was off balance, but he's kicked it 10-12 yards wide. Dreadful from Beto, who we have praised since coming on. But if anything sums up Everton's current predicament, it's what their new £30 million striker just did there.
Awful, absolutely awful. He must have left his shooting boots in Udinese, because they mustn't have made it through. That was shocking. It really was. You've had to put your mic down, Connor, because you can't contain yourself.
Deary me. That was his chance. You know, he's looked bright, he's looked hungry. Comes to him, round about the penalty spot. All he's got to do is hit it on target, and not just wide, way wide.
He hit it towards the 18-yard box, towards the corner flag. It was that far wide. That was horrendous.
Dreadful. But as I said, just sums up Everton. This is what it's like being, watching Everton games this season. This is what it's been. Here's Ashley Young, who's now out on the left-hand side. Onana plays it forward. It's a good run by Beto. Can he make amends here? In around the back of the goalkeeper, and he does score. That's more like it. He makes amends for his fluffed effort a moment ago. It's a debut goal for Beto. Everton fans celebrate, because for the first time this season their team has scored a goal. Beto, the new hero of the blue side of Merseyside.
Well, who's laughing now? What a goal that is from Beto. Turn of pace in behind. Goalkeeper comes, he's stranded, he's in no man's land, and he just pokes it round him into an empty goal. Quality from Beto. That's what they paid for. It wasn't the first finish, but the second finish is magnificent.
It has taken to the 73rd minute, but Everton score against Doncaster. There's a delay in play for an injury. Both sets of players are going to come across and get a drink and have a little impromptu team talk. Right, for the first time this campaign, Sean Dyche has something to build on now. It looks like he's going to make another change and bring on one of his more experienced players. James Tarkowski is getting ready for his introduction. Grant McCann, the Doncaster coach, who we spoke to down on the touchline before the game, and he spoke about what respect he has for Sean Dyche. And, looking at his body language at the moment, he's doing downward motions with his hands. It's almost like he's telling his players to calm down a little bit, trust the process that has got them so far in this game. There's no doubt that's a setback, but you wouldn't point to an individual error. It was just a well-taken goal by the Premier League club.
It really was. It was a lovely ball down the side, in behind. Great run from Beto. Again, he gives the defender 3 or 4 yards, but such is the pace. It draws Lawler out of his goal. He thinks he might get there before Beto. He's getting nowhere near it. Such is the pace of Beto. And then the calmness, the presence of mind to see the goalkeeper and then just to slot it past him.
The moon has just come out behind a cloud away to the right-hand side. Is it a new dawn for Everton? Is it finally a kick-starting of their season? It's the super blue moon, I believe, tonight. The different moons at different times of the year. It's the blue moon, and how significant that it would happen just as Everton score their first goal of the season, the team in blue. Right, we still haven't got back underway after the goal, so while we're waiting for that, let's go check in on the bench. Nottingham Forest against Burnley with Charlie Slater.
It's still goalless, but Steve Cooper has just broken glass in case of emergency and has got Taiwo Awoniyi off the bench. Scored 7 in his last 7. On he comes. He's got a few minutes to stop this game from being sent to the jeopardy of a penalty shootout. Still goalless.
Yes, we could have penalty shootouts to come. 0-0 there, the City Ground. 0-0 at Bramall Lane 2, Sheffield United against Lincoln City. And 1-1 here, Doncaster Rovers against Everton. Ben Godfrey has possession and he can't control it, and the ball goes out of play right in front of Grant McCann down there, who's hopping with joy as the ball goes out for a throw-in to Doncaster. And Everton might have got one back, but they're not out of the woods yet. Next goal is key, if indeed we get one between now and the end of the 90 minutes. Ball down the left wing from Maxwell goes straight out of play for a throw-in to Everton.
Yeah, a little bit of a change of personnel. Tarkowski coming on at the back alongside Michael Keane. Ben Godfrey into the right back position. Ashley Young now into the left back position. Garner back out onto the right hand side. So much changed again in the second half for Everton in positions.
So offside flag is raised pretty much bang on the halfway line. I mean, you can't be offside inside your own half, so it's a few inches inside the opposition half. Mo Fall had strayed. Everton take the free kick. New urgency about them now. They definitely want to get this done if they can in the 90 minutes. Bottom of the Premier League, taking on bottom of League 2. Onana, midway inside. Doncaster Rovers half gives it to Idrissa Gana Gueye. He turns back in himself in front of Zane Westbrook. Back into Onana. Turns, twists, plays it low towards the feet of Beto, but it's not a good pass. Easily picked off by Jack Senior. Doncaster Rovers have got it back. Let's see what Mo Fall can do here. Tries to get it over the top of Keane. What a ball that is. Ironside's onto it. Into the penalty area for Doncaster Rovers. Keane gets back in position. Then there's a challenge on the edge of the penalty area by Onana. Referee shakes his head, turns and runs away. Appeals for a penalty, fall on deaf ears as Everton come down the other end. Dan Juma in front of Beto, who's already scored since coming on as a substitute, but this time he can't get the shot away. He needs the support of Doucouré. Everton still have it. They're on the attack. This is Ashley Young. Back to Idrissa Gana Gueye. Lovely reverse ball to Young. Into the penalty area. Shoots right footed. Palmed away by the goalkeeper Lawler. And cheers from the fans as Doncaster clear. And it's still 1-1. But Everton have gone up a gear now. Ashley Young, who's been impressive since coming on, sends in another cross. This one's headed away by Owen Bailey. Doncaster hanging on now. They're clearing the ball, but they're not holding on to it in the midfield. Danjuma, poor touch on the edge of the box, picked up by James Maxwell. He clears to Ironside. Now can he give the defence some relief? Over comes Michael Keane to challenge him. That's good from Ironside. It moves play back into the Everton half, and it's a Doncaster Rovers throw, and we've got 12 and a half minutes of normal time to play.
What a shift Ironside has put in up front. He's ran the channels, he's held the ball up, he's won his team's corners, free kicks, and this time he wins his team a throw-in when it's much needed. His team are under pressure.
1-1. 5 Live and BBC Sounds, the Carabao Cup second round, and there has been a late goal at the City Ground. Will this prevent the penalties? Charlie Slater.
In the 90th minute, Burnley in front. The substitute Zeki Amdouni with a tap in from 5 yards out. A brilliant run that led to that, though. Burnley in front by a goal to nil. We're into 11 minutes of stoppage time.
Okay, 11, so maybe it's not done and dusted just yet. We'll be back to Charlie if there's any developments there. Here at the Eco Power Stadium, 1-1. Joe Ironside for Doncaster Rovers. Beto on his debut. He only arrived yesterday from Udinese. He had missed a dreadful shot just, we were talking 20-30 seconds before his goal. He missed an absolute howler, but then he made amends with Everton's first goal of this new season. Throw in on the far side to Everton. Goal of the Champions League qualifying playoffs. Here's Gavin Wallace.
Yeah, it's another goal for PSV Eindhoven. Corner 4-1 now against Rangers. 6-3 on the night now. They're just doing a double check-in for VAR to make sure that there wasn't an offside in the build-up. It has been confirmed now though. PSV Eindhoven 4, Rangers 1, and it was Joey Veerman from just inside the box.
Thanks very much, Gavin. So hushed mood around the Eco Power Stadium. These Doncaster Rovers fans have been given a real treat tonight. Their team have played above themselves up against Premier League opposition. They've been so brave tonight. They've scored their goal ahead of the half-time. They've led for so long. Now they've got a test, a real challenge to keep Everton at bay for these closing stages and maybe force the penalty shootout. Who knows, maybe Doncaster go and nick one themselves before the end. Fal's going to try to here. Running into put pressure on Tarkowski. Oh, he's done really well. Mo Fal gets it away from Tarkowski. Midway inside the Everton half, but he can't take them all on. He's challenging, the loose ball falls to George Broadbent. Broadbent in the lime green boots. Clever ball out to the right hand side to Tyler Roberts on loan from Wolves. Tries to step over, but he tackles himself as much as anything. He was all flurry of feet, but he didn't keep his eye on what he was doing, and Everton are able to clear away. And then down goes Decore, and that's a free kick to Everton. Not quite waving imaginary yellow cards, but Decore is looking at the referee with those eyes. No card shown though. Free kick to Everton just over the halfway line.
They've struggled, Doncaster, since they've moved Molineux from that right hand side. They don't quite have that outlet that they had in the first half. As Everton come forward.
Full time at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United against Lincoln City. Benny Glover.
At full time, it's goalless. Despite some late pressure from Sheffield United, they just could not score. Just before the whistle, they had their biggest chance of the half, almost a sitter. Sariki passes the ball across the face of goal. No one was there to tap it in from the home side. Story of the game, really. And we are off to penalties for a spot in the third round.
Thanks, Benny. We'll be back to you shortly. The draw, by the way, for the third round follows the games tonight, so we'll find out who will be up against who in the third round of the Carabao Cup. One of these names, Doncaster Rovers or Everton, will be in there, but we don't know yet. 1-1 for the moment. Ben Godfrey comes over the halfway line. This would be an embarrassment for Everton should they lose to a fourth tier opposition. Garner's cross in. Beto's header off the post. What a header, but it doesn't go in. Off the frame of the goal. That was some header. The power he got on that. Garner's delivery. Beto, I mean, no exaggeration, the goal is still wobbling.
Wow, what a header that was. I mean, the ball in's brilliant from Garner, but the header's even better. It's just an inch off going crashing against the back of the net. He'd have ripped the net. It was a bullet of a header.
I'm trying to think, a comparison, another player who I could think that he's like. He's very athletic, brilliant in the air. There's almost a bit of Zlatan about him. Beto, not in terms of the tricks and flicks, but the strength. Here's a chance for Danjuma, flicks the top of the crossbar. Everton hit the woodwork twice in 30 seconds, but on both occasions the ball stays out of the net. Danjuma was leaning back and it was fractionally too high.
If I was an Evertonian, I'd be looking at Beto thinking, delighted. What a signing we're getting through the door. Someone who can run in behind, someone who's got an eye for goal. Yes, he had that comical moment with the finish, but before that and after it, his movement has been outstanding.
Right, substitution here. Sam Strong-Brown is going to come on as a late change. He'll replace Mo Fal, who's done very well running on his own up front for much of the night. While they make that change here, let's go back to Harrogate Town against Blackburn Rovers and Naz Premji.
Yes, it's finished. Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 8. 7 different scorers, 2 youngsters for Rovers scoring on their debut. Harrogate Town 0, Blackburn Rovers 8.
Thanks very much, Naz. Looking up to the stadium clock, 7 minutes of normal time to play. There'll be stoppages, of course. As Ironside looks up and tries to play a crossfield ball, but Ashley Young is well positioned. Wasn't the greatest header of his career from Ashley Young, but it goes back to Pickford, and between the two of them they work it back up towards the halfway line once again. Everton held 1-1 away from home at Doncaster Rovers here. Here is Beto on his Everton debut, having already scored, clinging on to a lower the defender. The referee spotting it, blows the whistle. Free kick to Doncaster Rovers. Everton are going to make a late change of their own. This could be with the penalties in mind. Mopé is being brought on for Everton. Neil Mopé, who hasn't scored in his last 29 appearances. It's been the worst run of his career. since moving to England. Former Brighton man is going to come on here in place of Abdoulaye Doucouré. Doucouré, whose goal against Bournemouth back in May secured Everton's survival. He will not be involved in the penalty shootout if that does come. Neil Mopé has been brought on instead. Champions League qualifying playoff. PSV Eindhoven against Rangers. Gavin Wallace.
Connor, you might be getting penalties, but it's more or less all over by the shouting here. It's PSV Eindhoven 5, Rangers 1. That's 7-3 on aggregate. 80th minute, Connor Goldson, not entirely sure what he was doing. A bit of interaction with him and Jack Butland. He went to pass it back to the goalkeeper and put it far too much over to his left, and it trundled into the goal. PSV Eindhoven 5, Rangers 1. 7-3 on aggregate.
Thanks, Gavin. Luke Molyneux trying to hold on to possession over the far side, trickles away from him. Owen Bailey allows it out of play because it came off an Everton player, and he knew this would be a Doncaster throw. They're keeping their cool, these Doncaster players. Poor start to the season in League 2, but you'd never think it on tonight's performance. Ball thrown into Zane Westbrook, midway inside the Everton half, tries to get it down to Tyler Roberts, who kicks the ball away into the crowd, maybe thinking it would waste a bit of time, but they got the multi-ball system, so another one immediately gets thrown in front of Jordan Pickford.
See, that's what I don't understand. He kicks it away, but there's a multi-ball system, so he's not gaining an advantage, so why book him? It doesn't change anything. It's a silly rule that at times.
So this is a throw into Everton, 15 yards inside the Doncaster Rovers half. Gravelly bellows from Sean Dyche, who's out of his technical area, almost on the pitch down below us. Gleaming white shirt and the tie. This is Godfrey into Mopé. Mopé, who's now up front alongside with Beto, who we have been impressed with tonight. One comedy shot aside, he's been very good. Can't wait to see a bit more of him. Here's Mopé, turning on the edge of the penalty area. Low into the feet of Beto, well marshalled by Jack Senior. Doncaster don't clear it away though. Comes back to Mopé on the edge of the D. There's a tangle of legs. Beto, Mopé. Will it sit up for someone? No. Doncaster shuffle it clear. Molyneux should be able to bring it away on the right side. He goes long. He goes direct. He's looking for Ironside. Pickford outside his penalty area is forced to use his feet. Idrissa Gueye holds onto. There's a tangle going on between Sam Strong-Brown, who's come on, and Onana, who's much taller than him, and the referee just runs in between the two of them. Play continues. Garner crosses from the right hand side, too high for Beto. Header in there by Jack Senior, straight to Onana on the edge of the penalty area. These are nervous moments now for League 2 Doncaster Rovers, dangling on a knife edge at 1-1 in the closing minutes with just over 3 of normal time to go. Good run forward. Danjuma, low ball in. Garner, right-footed shot blocked away by Jack Senior. That's brilliant defending. That was a well-worked Everton move. The low ball in from Danjuma was almost perfect, and Garner from 4 yards out can't believe he didn't score.
Outstanding, Jack Senior. Made sure he followed the run. James Garner got across, got in the line of the ball and the shot. That is a great block.
The goals Joe Ironside for Doncaster Rovers in the first half. Beto on his debut for Everton in this second period. Ashley Young delivers into the box. Jack Senior gives it a have that clearance, just booms it away down the field. Held up by Sam Strong-Brown. He's under pressure. Referee blows the whistle. Free kick to Doncaster. They needed that. A little bit of respite to let the defence push up. Sean Dyche goes reaching for another bottle of water, and he can't get enough of them. He takes another enormous swig and places it back into the icebox once again. Penalty shootout could be on the way. Jordan Pickford, who has been a hero in penalty shootouts in the past. Everton, who've had plenty of calamitous days though with spot kicks too. Are we going to see this one decided on penalties? Ironside goes down 10 yards outside the penalty area. No free kick. Loose ball rolls to Mopé. Chance of a counter-attack as he tried to put it in front of Danjuma. Mopé picks up again possession in a more central location. Garner back into the Frenchman once again. Mopé's been busy since coming on. This is Onana. Clock ticks on. 88 minutes now. Danjuma on the left-hand side, low to the feet of Mopé. Back to Danjuma, right-footed. Can this finish it? Into the bottom corner. Everton lead for the first time this season in any game. Danjuma's 1-2 was the bit of Premier League quality that Everton have lacked for so long tonight, but it has told in the end, and surely that's going to be that. In the final 2 minutes of the game, it's 2-1 Everton, and Arnaud Danjuma has just scored his first goal for the club.
That's a beautiful goal as well. So well worked. You said he'd been busy since he come on, Neil Maupay, and the link-up play between him and Danjuma is superb. Danjuma's down the left, he comes inside, little 1-2 with Maupay, and as he gets it, he takes 2 more touches, the defenders buy it, and then he just reverses the ball hard and low into the bottom left-hand corner, and Ian Lawler stood no chance of getting anywhere near it. It's been so much better in this second half from Everton with that injection of pace into the game.
So, well, there's applause around the stadium from Doncaster Rovers fans who would think of appreciate the effort that they've put in, but for the first time they are behind. Let's go to the penalties at Bramall Lane. Betty Glover.
And Lincoln are through to the third round of the EFL Cup. They won 3-2 on penalties. Sheffield United are the first Premier League team knocked out of the competition by a lower league opposition this Sunday. They missed 3 penalties, including Louis Marsh, who missed a penalty. Just the youngster that has made his debut this evening in the senior team. So Lincoln through on penalties.
Done and dusted at Stamford Bridge. Chris Wise.
So the 5-time winners into round 3, not without suffering a sweaty night at Stamford Bridge. Madueke and Fernandes with the Chelsea goals in either half. AFC Wimbledon led for 25 minutes in the first period through James Tilley's penalty. Their first defeat of the season. A lot of pride for them though. Chelsea 2, AFC Wimbledon 1.
Thanks very much, Chris. The closing stages here at the Eco Power Stadium. Quite a tale to tell from this visit to this part of South Yorkshire this evening. Bottom of League 2, Doncaster Rovers scoring before half-time, living the dream, dreaming big dreams, but it's all been stuffed away from them right at the very end of the goals from Beto and from Danjuma, each of them scoring their first goal for their new clubs. Premier League quality has come through. I wouldn't say it's shone through, it's come through in the end. Beto flicks it on, but Garner knew he was offside and doesn't challenge for it. We're into stoppages here. 6 minutes to be added on. Stephen Warner.
Yeah, you just think that quality that Everton have been able to bring onto the pitch in the second half, the experience of Ashley Young, Idrissa Gana Gueye in that midfield has pretty much won every battle, every second ball, and Doncaster have just fatigued as well.
Here's Tyler Roberts. Can they get one more flash of inspiration? That's not a bad turn inside the penalty area. Back to Storm Brown, the other substitute. He shoots left-footed, comes off the backside of Ben Godfrey, and it clears out towards the corner flag where it's kept in play by Jack Senior, the defender who's come forward to help the defence now. It's all hands on deck for Doncaster. Everton should have cleared it there. Storm Brown turns again on the edge of the penalty area. Back out to Senior, back into Storm Brown. Across comes Maupay. He makes the challenge out. It goes for a corner. Corner to Doncaster in front of the Everton fans. This ain't over yet.
Well, they've been inventive, haven't they, from corners and set pieces. It's a 2v1. Everton have switched off. Cannot believe it.
Corner's been taken short again to the edge of the penalty area. Back out to Molineux. His left-footed delivery hangs in the air, but there's too many tall Evertonians back there. Beto, I think, with a firm touch and clears the ball away. Beto, having come on at half-time, has probably been Everton's best player. Jack Senior plays it forward again. There's no flag on the far side. Chance for Doncaster. Cross in by Maxwell is too close to Pickford, and the Everton goalkeeper grabs it and falls down onto his chest. And Everton are almost there. We've played 90 seconds of the 6 minutes already.
Well, that tells you everything about Everton's performance in the second half. Jordan Pickford claiming the ball and then falling on it, taking as much time as he can, trying to take that pressure off his team because he knows they've been in a game tonight.
Everton, who lost to an 87th minute winning goal against Wolves on Saturday, and they'll be hoping there's no late drama to come here. Grant McCann's got to throw his final dice at it here. He's got a double substitution to come on. There's very little time to go. 4 minutes of stoppages remaining. He's going to bring on Dei Shatona, who's a forward, and he's also going to bring on Jack Goodman, who's a forward. So
the ball needs to go out first. It just doesn't feel like it's going to go out.
Eventually the ball does go out for a throw on the far side. There's a clap of encouragement from McCann, the former Northern Ireland international. Zane Westbrook, who's running socks off in the midfield, will be the first to make way. And the other player coming off is James Maxwell. So they take off the left back, they take off a midfielder. Well, they might as well go for it now. 2-1 down against Premier League opponents. Grant McCann wants to go out all guns blazing. 2 strikers brought on to see if there might be one more chance. One more chance for Doncaster, who led for so long in this game, to get back on level terms and to make it 2-2. Mistake at the back though, and down the other end is allowed Danjuma into the penalty area. Here is Mopé, hits it off a defender, and the chance goes to Becking, does it? It's going to be resurrected by Garner, drills it in low. Good defending again. I think it was Aloha who made the block, and the ball goes off Garner and out for a goal kick to Doncaster, and they've got to get it down the other end immediately.
Yeah, go long, go direct, try and cause problems. It's the last opportunity for them, just over 2.5 minutes to go.
Lincoln City have knocked out Sheffield United on penalties at Bramall Lane. Burnley have knocked out Nottingham Forest. Blackburn are through. 8-0 winners away at Harrogate. Beto's cross on the right hand side blazes over the top of Danjuma. He's had some great moments tonight. That was not one of them. Beto's cross way overcooked and out for a Doncaster Rovers throw, and they've got just over 2 minutes of the allotted 6 remaining. Doncaster, if they're to make this an exciting finish at the Eco Power Stadium. This is 5 Live and BBC Sounds, the Carabao Cup second round. Chelsea through tonight, having been behind against AFC Wimbledon. They came back at Stamford Bridge to win by 2-1. Everton now running down the clock, taking their time over this throw-in. The referee is over to just give scowl and make sure that no one's wasting time. It's got to be taken by Ashley Young towards Danjuma on the edge of the box. Great first touch by him. Mopé will shoot, but it's straight at the goalkeeper, and Ian Lawler makes the save. 1 minute 30 seconds of the 6 minutes remaining. Goalkeeper thumps it down the field, trying to bring Jack Goodman into the game. The substitute has come on. Godfrey though, strong, sticks to his task, clears the ball away for Everton. Godfrey slow to get back to his feet, bit of cramp down there. Everton running down the clock again. Reminder, by the way, while we've got a break in play here, that the Rugby World Cup gets started very soon. First weekend into April, and coverage of every match available via 5 Live Sports Extra, BBC Sounds, or the BBC Sport app. And there's a new 10-part podcast series, Rugby World Cup Top 10s, where World Cup winners Brian Habana and Matt Dawson join Chris Jones to debate the biggest issues in World Cup history. They talk about the best try, the greatest match, the biggest upset and more. And you can download the first 6 episodes now. They're all available via BBC Sounds, and the rest are to follow over the coming few days. Game back underway here. Joseph Alohu clears the ball away up towards Goodman. He can't make it stick. George Broadbent looks for space, plays it out in front of Molyneux, who's back out on the right wing. But sweeping there is Ashley Young, who's done well since he's come on at half-time, and he clears the ball away for Everton. Anywhere will do now, because the 6 minutes are almost up. There might be another one for other delays, but this is do or die now for Doncaster. Positivity from their supporters who will take much from this performance in the position that they're in at the bottom of the Football League. To make Everton sweat as much as they had done tonight has been an achievement in itself, but by no means have Everton run away with this. Beto loses the ball in front of Jack Senior, but Idrissa Ganagay wins it back, and Beto's free to his right. He's got to give it to Beto. Idrissa Ganagay wants it himself. Now Beto, offside. He puts it in the net, but Idrissa Ganagay had waited too long, and Beto was offside, and Everton don't get the third goal.
No, he just delayed, and Beto should never be offside. He's looking down the line. But Doncaster go long.
6 minutes are up. It's at the discretion of the referee now. He brings the whistle to his lips, and it's all over. Grant McCann will shake hands with Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche needed this. Boy, did he need it. After 3 straight defeats in the Premier League, having not scored a goal this season in any competition before tonight, his team have been given an almighty scare by Doncaster Rovers. But from 1-0 down at half-time, Everton have turned it around. Beto on his debut. Danjuma with his first for the club. It finishes Doncaster Rovers 1, Everton 2.
All right, let's get the full time then, shall we, at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest, Burnley. Charlie Slater.
0-0, Burnley won, and that's so short on quality. It always felt like one goal would be enough, and so it proved. A 90th minute winner for Burnley substitute Zeki Amdouni, his first goal for the club. Brilliantly made though by Sander Berger, who come off the bench, and Maisie run, which helped to set the goal up. What it does mean tonight is it puts last season's semi-finalists out, and it gets Burnley their first win of the season, and it puts them of course through to the third round. It finishes Forest 0, Burnley 1.
Rangers will play Europa League football this season. Gavin Wallace.
They will indeed be playing Europa League football next season. It finishes PSV Eindhoven 5, Rangers 1, an aggregate score of 7-3. A brace from Ismail Sabari, along with contributions from De Jong, Veerman, and an own goal from Connor Goldson. That means that PSV Eindhoven get their revenge, and it's definitely been served cold. Tavernier was on hand to give some hope to those of Rangers' disposition late on as well, but to be honest, they've just been brushed aside this evening by a team that scored 14 goals over 2 separate ties. As you say, Rangers go into the Europa League, and PSV continue into tomorrow's Champions League draw. It finishes in Eindhoven. PSV Eindhoven 5, Rangers 1, 7-3 on aggregate.
And we'll have more reaction to that and all of the other stories tonight between 10 and 10:30 when Colin Murray will take over here on 5 Live. So let's go back to Doncaster. They were brave, Stephen Warnock, but in the end Everton just had too much.
Yeah, they had too much quality to bring off the bench, and I'm sure at half-time there would have been a few stern words spoken from players, from the manager, from the staff, and then they bring on Beto, who showed his quality up front. Then they also added Ashley Young, Idrissa Gana Gueye into that. So when you bring on that experience and that know-how of how to get back into a game, how to manage a game, then it completely changed. And Doncaster, in and around, well, Connor said it, in and around 66 minutes, just looked like they gassed themselves out a little bit, and it was a positive performance from them, though.
Right, other scores for you in the EFL Cup then tonight. Chelsea have beaten AFC Wimbledon by 2-1. It finished Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 1. Lincoln City, they're the big shock of the night. They've beaten Sheffield United of the Premier League on penalties, and there was never any chance of a shock at Harrogate Town, who lost 8-0 at home to Blackburn Rovers. Lots more reaction to come, and we will bring you the result of the draw for the third round as well. And this is when the teams who are playing European football in the Premier League come into it. So if you're a fan of the likes of Port Vale or Salford, Mansfield, Bradford, Lincoln, Exeter, Peterborough or Sutton United, you could be getting an absolutely massive draw in the next few minutes. We'll tell you all about that after the news on 5 Live with Joe Critcher.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Colin Murray is on the way at 10:30 tonight. So Rangers won't be playing Champions League football this season. They have to make do with the Europa League after losing to PSV Eindhoven 5-1 on the night, 7-3 on aggregate. We've got more reaction to that to come from Gavin Wallace and Pat Nevin. We're going to start though with reaction to the rest of the EFL Cup second round fixtures. We'll bring you the draw shortly as well for round 3. Chelsea, Blackburn, Burnley and Lincoln all advancing tonight, but we're going to start at the Eco Power Stadium with Stephen Warnock and Conor McNamara, where Everton won against Doncaster Rovers by 2-1. But Conor, there was a time after the new signing Beto shanked wide at 1-0 down when this could have gone very, very differently.
Yes, I mean, I don't think they've covered themselves in glory tonight, Everton, but they got the job done. And down below us, the Player of the Match award has just been received by Beto, and I think that says a lot. He came on at half-time. He did have that one shank, which was a comedy moment, but otherwise he looked very good. He had a bullet header off the post, which was one of the best headers I've seen in a long time. I mean, he could be very interesting for Everton. I think their fans will be talking about him all the way home. But otherwise, it was the same old that has caused problems and trouble for them so far this season. In the first half, Yusuf Chermeti started up front. He looked what he is, which is a raw, inexperienced 19-year-old. He may have loads of talent. We may see it in the future, but he doesn't look ready quite yet. The likes of Mikalenko, who hasn't had much first-team football in recent months, he looked rusty. Everton struggled to do the simple things correctly. They were caught out by Joe Ironside, who took the lead for Doncaster Rovers ahead of half-time. Television replays showed us later that he was offside, but there's no VAR this round of the competition, so that goal stood. And it took Everton a long time to turn it around. Beto did get one back. Great goal, 73 minutes. And then Danjuma was to pop up with the winner. Doncaster Rovers fans stayed at the end, applauded their team. They know they did themselves proud, given who they are and where they are from. They are bottom of the 92 clubs in the Football League. They were always up against it, against Premier League opposition tonight. But for Sean Dyche, he leaves here, I guess, with the bare minimum, which is the win and a team that are scoring goals. And now they move on to play Sheffield United at the weekend.
Yeah, and Stephen, there are still a ton of questions for Everton to answer, but at least they got a new signing striker scoring on his debut and looking dangerous.
Yeah, you can look at it two ways, can't you, Steve? You can look at it from the positive point of view, like that, But then you can look at it and say, but they should do that. They should cause problems against a League Two team. And that is, as great as Beto was tonight, I'm going to judge him on the Premier League. And that's not being disrespectful to Doncaster, but is he going to go get that opportunity in the Premier League against better quality defenders? We will reserve judgment. However, on the performance of tonight and what he showed, he could be dangerous. And if I was an Evertonian driving home, like Connor said, he'd be the one that we'd be talking about. He's the bright spark in the game tonight, the one who changed the game, the one who looked dangerous in behind, and that's a positive.
And I suppose, you're right. It's Doncaster Rovers who were brilliant and brave, but they're a League Two team and they're bottom of the Football League at the moment. I suppose what you're doing is looking for whatever signs you can see. And it isn't just the fact that he scored. He was just busy, wasn't he, and powerful.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You're after someone who's going to make an impact. What am I signing for 30 million or 25 million, 26 million? Is he going to have an impact on the game? Is he going to be able to change a game? Is he going to be able to hold it up and bring others into play? Is he going to be a threat in behind? And I think he answered all that tonight where, yes, the capabilities are there. However, again, we go back to, let's wait and see him against Premier League opposition. But it is a positive, Steve. You have to take the positives from it. And Sean Dyche will look for every positive that he can spin on this game tonight to get that confidence up within the squad.
And the biggest positive, Connor, is without him, a team that have lost all 3 Premier League games and haven't scored a goal would probably be out of the EFL Cup as well.
I was going to try and do an Irish accent there, and I was going to fill in there, Steve. I was going to try.
Can I just say, Stephen, I'm really glad you did not do that.
You haven't heard my Irish accent yet.
No, I've checked, and I've just checked with all of our listeners, and they've all said they don't want to hear that.
Okay, absolutely fine.
But what I will do, I will take that question that I asked to Connor and ask it to you, which is, you were just saying, there are positives, but we'll wait and see. The biggest positive is that without him, they're probably out of the cup tonight.
Yeah, and that was the big thing, I think, when you look at the performance in the first half and you look at Chimiti. Is he a backup player? Is he good enough to come on the pitch and show what he can do? No, but he's young, he's inexperienced, whereas Beto has got that experience. What I would be licking my lips at if I was an Everton fan was get Dominic Calvert-Lewin back, put him and Beto up front. Now you've got a combination. Beto can go short. We saw that tonight. He can link the play up, but he can also stretch in behind. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin is then flicking balls on. Beto's in behind. That could be dangerous, and you could see Sean Dyche possibly going back to that 4-4-2 system to get wingers on the pitch, to get the ball into the box. We saw that header from Beto tonight. Him and Dominic Calvert-Lewin could form a nice partnership.
Stephen, thank you very much for the time being. That is Stephen Warnock, who has been at the Eco Power Stadium where Premier League Everton just got by a spirited performance from League 2 Doncaster Rovers. Another great performance tonight was from League 2 AFC Wimbledon, who pushed Chelsea all the way at Stamford Bridge. In fact, they took the lead in that tie before going on to lose by 2-1. Stephen Kelly is there. And Stephen, I understand you've been doing some work for us.
Yeah, I've been doing a bit of work for you off-site here. I've been able to get a good mate of mine, Johnny Jackson, in. Came through the Academy of Spurs together, so he's happy to jump on and give his thoughts as well. Manager of AFC.
Manager of AFC Wimbledon. Johnny, good evening.
Good evening.
How was that then? What a good go your lads gave that.
Yeah, they had a right go. I'm so proud of the players. I've been saying all week that we wouldn't just turn up here and take photos and be happy with a day out and all that nonsense that sometimes goes with these occasions. I wanted my team to take it to Chelsea and have a go and try and beat them, and that's exactly what we've done. And yeah, obviously we've come out the wrong side of it, but it wasn't through lack of effort and lack of trying, for sure.
Can you just describe that feeling for us? Your team were 1-0 up at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, it was quite surreal, to be honest. But I mean, I enjoyed my team's performance. I liked watching them. We knew we'd have to suffer tonight and not have the ball, and it was all about our shape and how we tried to limit them. With knowing they got world-class players all over the pitch, or certainly on the bench, and yeah, we had to suffer at times, but we knew we'd have moments in the game, and we certainly had a few of those. We got a penalty, took the lead, and we was looking good, really good for 40 minutes, limiting them. But they're obviously going to get chances, and they managed to nick a couple.
Did you enjoy pitting your wits against Maurizio Pochettino?
Yeah, I did. Listen, it's why we do it. Yeah. I want to reach those heights, those pinnacles myself. That's that's what we aspire to do, and he's obviously a world-class coach at a world-class football club. So to get that opportunity was brilliant. But like I say, I didn't want it just to be like for the experience. I wanted to try and beat him, to be honest, and I didn't quite manage it.
Even so, though, will you take, as much as your players will take something, will you take something out of this experience?
Yeah, I will. You know, it's my first experience of setting up against, you know, a team 3 divisions higher with the quality that they've got. So we had to set up in a different way that we would approach a League 2 game. So it was different thinking, and we had to plan differently as far as the work we've done on the training pitch. So that was good that I got an opportunity to do something different, but I've got to give my players all the credit for the way that they took the information on board first and foremost. And then it's one thing knowing what the plan is, but coming here and implementing it and nearly like pulling off exactly what we wanted. I've just got to give my lads all the credit in the world, really.
Johnny, can I ask you about one of your players? Because I was reading about him earlier today, and he's got an absolutely incredible story. He came off the bench for you tonight, Ali Al-Hamadi. He's an Iraqi player who was a kid. He fled Iraq with his family during the war. He did an interview in The Guardian this week. He's got an extraordinary story. What has it been like for you working with him?
I've loved it, to be honest. He's been absolutely class since he joined us in January. Like you say, he had the strange upbringing. He was born in Baghdad, and then his family had to flee sort of war-torn Baghdad, and ended up in Toxteth in Liverpool, and had a different kind of upbringing there as well. And he's had to do it the hard way to get to where he is. Absolutely had to do it the hard way, and nothing's been given to him. But he's such a great lad. He's come to us. He's got such an enthusiasm for his football to get better and improve. And when he comes to us in January, he scored loads of goals last season. He hasn't managed to get off the mark yet this season, but he's such a threat, and he's a pleasure to work with.
Do players like him with his kind of story really affect a football club? Because I read that and think, God, what I do, what you do, what most of us do is totally put into, context by a story like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good fit because, Wimbledon it is the underdog mentality, isn't it? With what this football club's had to go through itself, and, and the history that it's had. So it is sort of a good fit that we get those types, and we really try and buy into, that Wimbledon way of doing things and that spirit, and we do a lot of work on that when we're with our recruitment. Obviously we want good players to come in, but they obviously got to be the right type as well, because it takes a certain type to play for this club.
Stephen, you want to ask any questions before we let Johnny go?
To be honest, I was watching it, and for the first 45 minutes they found it so hard to play between the lines. It was just so narrow, so tight. You let them get in the wide areas, and obviously the lad on the left on the right hand side was brilliant, but was just keeping that tight shape, and the information that was coming across from you was to narrow up the whole time. And they were loads of possession, but they never once, Baz didn't have a shot to save in the first half. Gave the pen away. Piercy, I'm going to hammer Piercy now. It's mine as well for diving in. He's gone in. I think he just saw it, lunged in, but he could have stood on his feet, could have experienced defending like that, yourself. But the tactical awareness for the first 5 minutes was brilliant, and then when you got on half, you was in the ascendancy towards the end of the game, and Hamdi, he had an unbelievable chance. It was just taken off his toe. He could have been the one that put you through the penalties.
Yeah, I mean that would have been nice. We had moments in that second half where we had to stay in the game at 2-1, and obviously we've worked majority of this week. We've only had a couple of days really, but worked without having the ball and what that was going to look like, because it's silly to think that you're going to come here and dominate possession. So we've done loads of work on it. We drilled it. We pride ourselves on our shape anyway. It's not dissimilar to how we play, and we knew that we'd have a threat on the counter, and I can make subs bringing Ali into the game. That with his pace that he's going to get a chance. He's going to get a moment, and if there's only one goal in the game, you're going to have a sniff, and we managed to keep it at that. He's had the chance at the end, and I think the guy's just got a really good tackle. But really, really proud of the lads.
And Johnny, if you've got any good Stephen Kelly stories, we're all ears for them. I'm always looking for leverage.
Yeah. Well, most of them are probably not for the airways.
Okay.
I'll let him tell you the time that we went to Tesco's wearing Stephen Kelly 34 shirts on the back.
I had a Johnny Jackson shirt. We just made our debuts, and we bet each other to go to Tesco's with each other's jerseys on. Johnny Jacko's over staying in my place, and we both went to the Tesco's. I did Jacko 33, you 32, and I was 34. I was 34. Yeah, I still have the jersey now.
Wow, you boys know how to have fun, don't you?
Yeah, crazy times at Tottenham Academy. Crazy.
We could have been in the pub.
Yeah,
better than being in the pub.
Oh, that's great stuff, Johnny. Really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for talking to us.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Top man, and Stephen, thank you very much as well. Stephen Kelly with Johnny Jackson there, the head coach of AFC Wimbledon, who were brilliant tonight and just beaten by 2-1 by Maurizio Pochettino's Chelsea. About $6 miles and $6 billion separating those two clubs. Right, Rangers will have to make do with Europa League football this season. They lost heavily in their Champions League playoff round second leg tie against PSV Eindhoven. Gavin Wallace was watching.
They did indeed. It was a brace from Ismail Samari, along with contributions from De Jong, Veerman, and goodness knows what Connor Goldson was thinking. I mean, that PSV Eindhoven will get that revenge, and they've really served it up to the Glasgow club this evening. James Tavernier did hand some hope to those of a Rangers disposition when he scored on 64, but to be honest, they were absolutely brushed aside, Steve, by a team that has scored 14 goals over 2 ties. When you take into consideration the tie previously against Sturm Graz in the qualifying stages as well, and really they were put to the sword as well. It's not been a good night for Rangers whatsoever. It'll be interesting to hear the reaction from the Rangers camp as well this evening, but a lot of questions may well be asked this evening. I think the pick of the goals, really, the one that killed it off, was De Jong on 65. He was on the end of a great cross from Bakayoko. Butland couldn't come for it, Steve, and 3 Rangers players decided that they were going to try and attack or defend that ball as well. De Jong, all he had to do was just head home for a matter of yards from a nice angle, and I think at that point that's probably what killed the game. PSV 5, Rangers 1, 7-3 on aggregate in Holland tonight.
Pat Nevin was also watching for us. I mean, Pat, there were very few parts of that game tonight where Rangers looked like they were going to go through.
Well, here's the most positive part I could find, and I dug.
Okay, right. You've gone deep.
I've went deep, yeah.
Yes.
2-0 down, and the Sabari's 2 goals looked as if they killed it, and I thought they killed it. Rangers had about 10 minutes then. They just threw everything at it, and they got a goal back. And you just thought, hey, you just never know. And then you realise that PSV had actually taken their foot off the gas, and they just turned it on again. So there was a wee period where they were almost competitive, but the amount of chances that PSV made in the game, they could have scored many, many more. The defending, there's no getting around it. That the defending was awful from Rangers tonight. It was 5. There could have been 6 or 7 quite easily. There was a distance between the teams technically as well, and it's hard. It's a hard one for any Scots to see that that's the quality that you need to get into the group stages. And Rangers looked a long way off it, and it really was summed up as Gavin was saying there. That last goal with Goldson, and honestly, I'm really scratching my head to figure out what he's thinking, because the ball goes back to him. He's getting closed down a wee bit, but he doesn't pass it his goalkeeper normally. He tries a no-look pass. Why is the defender doing a no-look pass back to his goalkeeper? Just look. There's nothing to be gained for that. The only guy I used to know I've ever known who could do that really well was David Luiz, and even he messed it up sometimes. So I mean, it was honestly, Michael Beale will look at that and just think nobody seemed to turn up in a defensive situation. The midfielders didn't cover the defenders in any way whatsoever, and you look to Bakayoko, Lang, they just looked so far ahead of the quality. It's a hard one to take for Rangers. And the only positive I can possibly think about it for them is they looked at the Champions League coming up and thought, had they got through there and played like that, they could have been absolutely destroyed by some of the bigger clubs. And I suppose the final thought, looking forward to the weekend, I think Kyogo and co will be looking at that and thinking, yum. We could have a few goals here, or a few chances here.
We've got much better history recently with the Europa League, of course, having been to the final a couple of years ago. Let's bring in.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of them. I was there in Seville, and they were very unlucky. They came very close to that one. So Europa League may well be the best place suited. And financially, when you look at Rangers in comparison to a lot of the other clubs that will be in that, and indeed Celtic too, it's very, very hard for the Scottish clubs to be able to get close, because financially they're miles and miles behind. Whereas Europa League, maybe against more teams that are of your kind of ilk in the spending stakes.
Let's bring in Rangers fan James Forrest from Heart and Hand, the Rangers podcast. What are your emotions then, James?
Hi, Steve. Yeah, it's a tough one to take that. It's a result that should never have got to that point. I don't think we were based on the first leg, we were not bad enough to lose 5-1 tonight. So really, really tough one. It requires a very quick reaction. The game on Sunday is a good opportunity for those players to do that. Very clear, as Pat in particular said, that this isn't a squad that's really a Champions League level squad. It would have been the same outcome as last season when you look at that tonight. Yeah, there are improvements, but there's still things that we have to work on, and I think that was really shown in the game tonight. So it's the Europa League. I think there's more opportunity to have a bit more enjoyment in that, but yeah, it's tough for any Rangers fan to really kind of sort of properly say how we feel after a result like that, because we didn't really expect it. I don't think anyone expected it to be as bad as what it ended up.
You know, Pat, I always find it hard to work out in a situation like this. You know, you mentioned Kyogo and Celtic, and we've got the Old Firm derby on Sunday, full commentary on 5 Live. Whether or not, if you're Rangers after that night, it's the worst possible time to play Celtic or the best.
And you don't know, and you won't find out until you know.
Yeah.
But if you walk, I'm going to walk into Ibrox, right, and the noise will be phenomenal. Don't worry about that. The Rangers fans will be up for it. That'll give the players a lift. One of the best things for a footballer, if you have a bad defeat, you want a game right away. You play the next day if you could, right? So they've got, you know, if Rangers can win this game, right, put themselves ahead of Celtic in the league. Remember, Celtic, not all guns firing there as well, because they lost. They drew St Johnstone. They've lost to Kilmarnock. You know, they've had a tough start, and again, Brendan Rodgers has said that. And the Rangers fans will be absolutely buzzing if they manage to beat Celtic on Sunday. So, yeah, let's keep it in a level of perspective. Just as James was saying, James is right. You know, it's a tough one to take, but there's a reality in it of, okay, it's probably Europa League as well. We should be living with the players that we've got just now. It's not how Celtic and Rangers fans feel. They feel they should be Champions League teams, and in many ways I feel that should be the case as well. But financially it's just very, very hard for them. But looking forward to the weekend, they'll be up for it. And remember, they've got lots of, you know, other players to bring in. Roof can play. He couldn't play tonight, and a number of other players they can bring in, particularly up front. But I would be worried if I was a Rangers fan about that defence. It did look very, very shaky.
Extremely shaky. Yeah, I would agree with that, Pat. There's one stat that I've looked out tonight, Steve, and James, your reaction might be quite interesting on this as well. Pat, you're saying that maybe Rangers should be a Champions League team. They don't look at it on that tonight. There's a stat that I've looked up since the Europa League final. They've played 14 matches in Europe, right? Since that Europa League final, they've only won 3 of them and conceded 3 or more goals on 6 different occasions.
Can I take my wording back here before that's used?
Sorry, maybe I got that right. Yeah.
I said they feel they should.
Sorry,
be.
yeah.
I'm not saying that team or that group of players there are the finances
not
that are
that group,
available. No. But as clubs, because in the past Celtic and Rangers have been, but it's just getting harder and harder and harder at the moment. And that team tonight, I thought they would do. Again, James, you said it yourself. You didn't expect that. I didn't expect a 5-1. I really didn't expect that.
There was a great level of positivity before the game. We heard that from James as well before the game. And then I think, you know, as we said, after that De Jong goal, all of that positivity was just zapped away.
You know, and they just at that point they started cruising. There was back heels and flicks, and they were creating chances all over the place. And some of the painful things about the defending, the ease of the goals. You know, it's, you know, players not thinking, you know, second defender, you know, the ball goes to the back. Their quality across them was great tonight. I have to say that, but PSV, it was really special.
The Rangers didn't help themselves.
But they then didn't react to the second ball. Defenders got to learn that. They got to do that. And against good players, they will always react quickly to it. And, you know, they suffer from that as much as anything else tonight.
The issue, I think, is the goals that we concede. A lot of them, it's the same type of goal over and over again. It's something we've never really been able to fix, and this has been the case. No matter who the manager's been since Steven Gerrard was at the club, it's that same type of goal, and we saw it on a few occasions tonight as well. You talk about having reached the Europa League final as we did. We didn't react to making that final in terms of a recruitment point of view in the right way at all. We should have done a lot better in terms of the sort of players we could have brought in defensively. Yeah, we've addressed some issues in the attacking areas, and yeah, we've got a better goalkeeper, as I'd mentioned before. But I think that, was it yourself, Greg, that mentioned before the game that, Tavernier, Goldson, Barisic, they're the ever presence, and they're the ever presence in there. But I think, particularly in the full-back areas, we're still seeing these defensive issues that haven't been properly addressed, and I think that's something that has cost us when that level goes up to this sort of Champions League level. And we got away with it in terms of the qualifiers last season. We got there, we got into the Champions League, and we felt right, okay, really kicking on now. And it was a reality check, and tonight is again a reality check in that sense, and what we need to do to get better, and fixing those defensive issues and not conceding that same type of goal has to be a priority.
James, Pat, Gavin, thank you all very much indeed. The draw is taking place right now for round 3 of the EFL Cup, and Lincoln City are in it after causing the upset of the night at Bramall Lane. Betty Glover.
Yeah, indeed. Sheffield United are the first Premier League team to be knocked out of the competition, Steve, by lower league opposition this season. They lost 3-2 on penalties to Lincoln. Louis Marsh, Ben Traore both had theirs saved. It meant John Egan had to score his penalty, but skied it over the bar. Lincoln are through to the 3rd round again. Remember, they got through to the 4th round last year, so they're good at this old EFL Cup. But Lincoln defensively were just really, really good. They didn't look scared at all. They played little passes around with confidence. It's not really surprising, Steve. They're 4th in the league, have only been defeated once. That was away at Bolton. That was the first game of the season, and they sorted those issues out. Sheffield United, on the other hand, will be so frustrated. This was their opportunity to really kick-start their campaign. They've had 3 games in the Premier League and 3 defeats in the league. Yes, they had that good performance against Man City at the weekend, but this was the opportunity really to build confidence, and they haven't done that at all today. They'll walk away from today so incredibly frustrated. But look, heroics for keeper Lucas Jensen, who saved 2 penalties, and I spoke to him earlier.
Unbelievable. We knew it was going to be a tough game, and to come away with the win is an amazing feeling, and to do it in front of all the fans is a brilliant feeling.
Yeah, and what was the game plan going into that? Because it looked like you had your game plan and you absolutely stuck to it.
Well, don't concede. It's probably the easiest thing, and then see where the game's going to take us, because again, we made a couple of changes and they did the same, so it's not going to be the same team as we saw them play against Man City, and the same for us when we played Blackpool. But it's a game of football, and you're not better than your last game. So for us to come out and show that we have some really good class against a Premier League team, we'll take that into to Saturday and hopefully do the same.
And what was the feeling like when you saved that second penalty in particular?
I knew it was close to winning the game, so I was thinking about putting the strike off on the last one, or just trying to tell him a little bit, getting in his mind or whatever you say, and it worked. He put it over the bar, so I must have done something right. And for them to miss 3 penalties is, I will say, a little bit of credit to me, but it's what it is. It's a win, so I'll take it.
A lot of credit to you. Look, you in the league, you're doing so well at the moment. Must be full of confidence.
Indeed, yeah. We can't ask for much more. It's been a brilliant start, but again, we have to take it game by game, and it's a long season, so there'll be loads of games coming up, and if we keep playing the way we do, I think we'll have some good times to come.
Got to the 4th round last year. Cup run on the cards?
Hopefully,
that's what we like. That's what we like. Well done, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That is the Lincoln goalkeeper, Lucas Jensen. They've just come out of a hat. Lincoln City at home to West Ham United. What a draw that is in round 3 of the EFL Cup. The draw is going on as we speak, so in the next couple of minutes or so it'll all be out. But Salford, their reward for their victory over Leeds United in the previous round, they have got another Premier League team at home. They are going to be at home to Burnley in round 3 of the Cup. You'll be able to get much more reaction, of course, on the Football Daily podcast. I'm going to give you one more tie before we hand you over to Colin Murray. Let's hope it's a big one. Fulham will play Norwich. Now, I did my best, Colin.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Of course it is if you're a Fulham or Norwich fan.
Oh, come on, don't be that guy.
But no, I am that guy. Someone once said to me, the most important game of the weekend is the one that your team is playing, and it's always stuck in my head. It's quite a good line, is it? How many more games have got to come out in this draw?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. We could do the draw together.
Blackburn taking on Cardiff.
4 teams. Shall I do the home teams?
Yes.
You can do the away.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just putting my hand here now, having a little rummage round, doing the old Rod Stewart big hand in the air, and I can tell you that is ball number 13 will be at home. Liverpool, Colin Murray, I've drawn out.
Liverpool will be at home to former Premier League champions, Leicester City. That's how you do it, by the way, a bit more pithy. Just with one line. Yeah, you don't give all that rummage stuff. Okay, go.
Okay, I'll do it again. Number 20. That's number 20. Newcastle United, finalists last season.
That's it. That's brilliant, Crossman. Right. Will play against the reigning Premier League and European champions, Manchester City. What a tie.
And the final tie out of the hat then. You're listening to the League Cup third round drive live on 5 Live with Colin Murray and me, Steve Crossman. Yes. Mansfield Town will be at home in round 3.
To Posh. Peterborough are going to Mansfield, and that completes the draw for the third round of the AFL Cup.
Commentaries will be on 5 Live in the week commencing, I don't know, sometime soon.
I think it's good. I've done a few draws when I did the AFL and Quest for a few League Cup draws, which I love, but only a few. We all know that when there's a draw to be done, Chappers tends to do it. He ain't all that. Do you know what I mean? It's a job for the taking, I think.
Yeah, well, I think we've both done a very, very good audition.
You didn't start great, but I think that was good because it lowered the expectation, and then you got so good towards the end. I believed you. Everything that came out of your mouth sounded great.
Do you know what I did? I took feedback and I took it on well. 25th of September, the week commencing the 25th of September. There you go.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at some of those. It's interesting, isn't it? If you're Sutton, I don't know if you've been to a game at Sutton. It's fantastic.
No, I haven't actually.
So good. And their rise has been sensational. I think if you're Sutton, you want to trip them. You don't want to go through. No offence to Port Vale, but you want to trip them Man United, don't you? You want to go to the Etihad or to, you want to go to. So it's weird. You like Newcastle United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Leicester, but hey, we see those fixtures all the time. So I think maybe a Salford or a
Ipswich
Sutton,
at home to Wolves. I like that one a lot.
That's not bad.
Ipswich are going really well.
But Mansfield and Sutton, you want that game where Man City come to town or Liverpool come to town.
Salford Burnley might be the best tie, I think.
Yeah, but it's I don't know about you, your way you think, but I don't like. We give it a big up, but Newcastle against Manchester City don't do anything for me because and look, we've got a Newcastle fan working in the show tonight. His head went into his hands.
And I'm just hearing that game will be live on 5. No, I'm joking. I don't know.
Yeah, you listen. You know it will be. Right?
Hey, who knows? We've Doncaster Everton tonight. Great pick.
Yes. It was a great pick. So, yes, Newcastle United, Manchester City is likely to be on 5 Live.
Great draw, Colin.
Good
Great draw.
I enjoyed that. If you're not replacing Choppers in those draws soon, then I don't know what's going on.
Have a good show.
Thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. BBC Radio 5 Live and weeknights is on the way. We are live, as you can hear. And that's 5 Live for me. Roll with what you have to do at the time that you have to do it. We'll be back shortly. I'm going to explain tonight's show to you. It's so lucky and honoured to have the 4 guests that we have at 11 o'clock tonight. When we have one of them on, they're a powerhouse. To put the 4 of them together is going to be really special. I'll tell you all about that. Really important conversation and everything else coming up on weeknights. After very much part of the team, Shabnam Yunus Jewel gives us your latest news and sport.